Do you want to be a part of the Coco community? Sure, we all do. So join this free weekly live talk show to find out how easy it is to watch at home and learn about your color computer. At the CoCoNation, more than 9 million men and women have participated in the community without setting foot outside their homes. And now at home in your spare time, you can see what's happening, or even join the discussion. Choose from any one of these segments: panel intros, project updates, acquisitions, Coco thoughts, featured interviews and events, the Game On Challenge, news, Ron's Garage, Coco commercials, show coverage, panel goodbyes, or you can join one of our extra shows. You can choose from the Game On Challenge Live or Coco Tech. Join the CoCoNation right now.
Click the link for the free information TJB Chris spoke about. Then decide if you want to watch the CoCoNation Live Show, the world's leading live weekly talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer, its siblings, cousins, and red-headed stepchildren. Visit thecoconation.com. There is no obligation and no salesman will visit you. Visit thecoconation.com.
The CoCoNation show is an unscripted, live, and interactive broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own, and not necessarily those of the CoCoNation show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds are encouraged, and a sense of humor is recommended. Thank you for being a part of the CoCoNation.
Radio Shack? Okay.
What?
The 80s called.
Welcome to the CoCoNation, the world's first live and interactive talk show featuring the Tandy color computer and its hardware cousins.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CoCoNation Show, episode 422. And what's our error code for today?
We're free until 500.
Oh, okay.
So
Pick that
yeah,
up again next year.
make some good shows for a while, eh?
Why break tradition now?
Ah,
All right. Let's see. On the panel today, he who has been here since 10:30 this morning, Ron Super Deluxe,
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show.
and Kevin Holloway,
Hello, everybody.
and
Hello.
yours truly, the button pusher. We got special guest Ken Wilmount
Howdy.
and Rick Euland,
howdy, folks.
Marco,
Howdy-o. Glad to be here.
and Ken Waters. Okay, Bob Emery,
Howdy, folks. Welcome to the show.
and last but not least, L Curtis Boyle.
Welcome to show everyone, and there's not one but two new game announcements this week.
Cool. Let's see. In the
I feel
chat.
bad. I feel bad. Everybody says howdy, and I said hello.
Oh, Mr. Formal.
I really.
Bonjour, everyone.
I didn't say
Horribly
howdy
pronounced
either.
French.
Salut, ça va? Yeah.
Okay. We have two.
Two games. Okay. All right. In the chat, we've got Kevin Holloway, Julian Brown, Wayne Campbell, J.E. Jones, Marco, Sixy, Michael Zwiffel, Wingnut, Jim Rye, Brian Weasler. Who says he won't be on the show today? Let's see. Brian Blake. George
Quick, does anybody have a
Cuppy.
warehouse full of stuff to show?
Let's Tom Eric Gunderson, Chris Dries, William Athing, 60 Qui-Gon. I think we're caught up. I think I got everybody. Did I say Scott Cooper?
He was an astronaut.
I think you did.
Okay. Anyway, we're caught up on the chat. Okay. First up, project updates. Why don't we start off with Ken?
Which
Sure
Ken?
thing. Yeah,
Oh,
am I
Ken-
on? Good.
Yep. Ken Wilmot.
Good. I'm Ken, and it's my first time on the show. And
Oh, so wait a minute now. Before you get started, you have to tell when you started with Radio Shack stuff, you know, and give us the full story so we can extend out to 4 hours.
This is your life thing.
Yeah.
only 4 because I could probably go more. Okay. Yeah, I was warned about this, so I'm a little bit ready.
Oh, you are familiar with the show then?
So,
Yeah. You got the format down.
yeah.
You were born.
Sorry,
a
I just
poor
got a
boy.
little, I got a little error message, but hopefully it's nothing. So my first computer was the Cosmac VIP, which is a little blue board that was a demo board for the RCA.
Is that related to the Elf at all, or?
Yes,
Yes.
it's pre-Elf. It's sort of a small Elf.
It's L without the F.
Yeah. And it wasn't much. It wasn't much to speak of, really. The next one after that was a superboard 2, and that's an OSI board. They sold the board outside of the case for people who didn't have the money for the whole thing, right? And that had 8K of basic, and it had a monochrome display, and that's it. Cassette.
Okay, nice.
Now, that stood me in good stead for a number of years. I started to work in a store that sold IBM and Apple clone boards and clones. And so I got a pretty good exposure to that stuff, but it was only the beginning of temptations. I didn't really have either at home. I didn't wasn't really doing that kind of thing. But that was about the time that the superboard just wasn't enough for me, and I liked the idea of the graphics. And I heard about the Coco. I probably in the magazines, you know. I went to a Radio Shack store, and there it was. It was Coco 1, and I was interested, but not rich enough to buy it at the time. And but later I did get a Coco 2 and a Coco 3, and that would all be around in the 1984, I think, or if maybe 84 or 5. And
But
then,
Coco 2, yeah, that makes sense. The Coco 3 came out in 86, so.
Oh, okay. Well, by the time I got to the 6, I became invested in it. You know, like I had a set of drives. I had 3.5-inch drives in a bay, along with some 5 1/4s, and I had a monochrome 80 column card, all in the multi-pack next to the Coco 3. And I played a lot with OS 9, both level 1 on the 2 and level 2 OS 9 on the Coco 3. And that was around for a few years, and then it yielded to an IBM clone running a 80286. And after that, I was pretty much into clones, and the Coco got sold. Yeah, things just, you know, moved along, and I didn't really the next part of the story. So I got back into the Coco through a kind of because of the processor, because I got interested in the 6809 processor, and pretty soon that led into the Coco world, and a lot of things came out of that. So I now have a Coco 2 and a Coco 3 that I'm working up, but they don't have much with them, and so I'm basically building up the system and trying to get all the nuts and bolts that it's going to need to do that. But along the way, I developed a I would say stronger interest in the Trash 80 MC10, which is this little.
You said trash. Ooh. Why?
That's what we called it back then.
Affectionate.
No, you did.
Well, everyone I knew did call it that, so I'll try to restrain myself from now on.
It's poopy. We don't do that.
Nope, his connection dropped.
What happened?
No. Now, who did that? That's not a good joke. Just because he said that doesn't mean you have to knock him off the line.
I don't know.
He's such a nice guy.
Come back, please.
I don't know if he's noticed he's fell off that.
We need a little placard that goes up and says, "Please stand by."
Yeah, we're experiencing technical difficulty. I did want to mention he was talking about the OSI machines, and for those of you that remember Aardvark, or Aardvark 80, or Aardvark Technical Services, and the various names they use, which produced a lot of the Coco games, including some we've done on the Game On Challenge recently. But they were quite famous for their text adventure games, and OSI was actually the first system they started working on in the late 70s. And once the Coco came out, they started doing some stuff for that, and you'll see full-page ads in Rainbow and Hot Coco and 80 Micro and stuff for that. So that's actually got a bit of a crossover, because Bob Rattel and Roger Olson and the rest that wrote for Aardvark wrote for both. The OSI Scientific, I think the Challenger in specific, and then the Coco, and later on the VIC 20 and Commodore 64, the TI 99 and a whole bunch of others.
Okay. Tell you what, while we're waiting for Ken to come back, Rick, you want to do your update?
Do we have a way to get a hold of Ken just to let him know that he dropped off? In case he's still talking?
He's probably on the Discord.
Yeah, maybe somebody can PM him then and just let him know.
What did he say his name was on Discord? I forgot.
Well, I was going to let him announce that if he wanted to.
Oh, so we don't have a way to contact him? Nobody knows who he is?
Oh, you said it before, before the show. But I was gonna not announce that unless he wanted it to. Let me get my other mouse here.
I'd reckon, do you have audio there? I know you've noticed you've been moving around stuff, but I haven't heard anything.
Okay, let's try it this way.
There, I heard you.
Hey, there we go.
I have voice. It's not very loud. Can't tell what my mic's doing. It's gone off into. Okay, well, if you can hear me, I'll move.
Well, if you
on
lean
to
forward, it's definitely
Yep.
louder.
I don't know. It changes its levels and I don't know.
Yeah, there's an
got-
auto
It has
gain
AI.
thing on it. Shut
First
that off.
world
It's horrible.
problems.
It has AI on it.
Yeah.
That's the problem with a lot
Artificially
of the
inept. That's what I call
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Exactly.
Good one.
Okay, now what am I trying to do here? I want to make this monitor go. Yes. Oh, but bigger. Is that even legible? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So
it is now that's
anyway,
zoomed up.
Pico 1.
I've been playing with my, I guess we'll call it TIFR, the TFR 905H, the little single board computer that Henry Strickland makes, this thing. And I just wanted to do something with it, which led me to the ancient world of serial games. So
Terminal type games.
plug my thing in, yeah, serial terminal games. And so if I plug my,
You mean like Captain Crunch?
Oh, like Oregon Trail 1.
Oh,
I bang, exclamation point.
see, let's fire up the console program here. I'm having little framing issues. And for some reason, you want to start the program, let it crash by unplugging the device, plug the device in, and now I can find the device, and life is good.
When all else fails, reboot.
So here we are in OS 9. And now we restart the console. Keep in mind, not for distribution. There's a good reason for that. So now we should be in fine. Now we've got OS 9, and I bet the commands work because there's something wrong with just getting it started. And then, like I say, I wanted to write some kind of serial game. So we avail ourselves of Basic 09 and load a old familiar title, but I'm writing a new take on it. And this is for OS 9 with nothing. You can't position your cursor. All you can do is print the page.
So no cursor control at all?
Nothing. I'm assuming nothing. Just yeah, we're going for the very, very, very basic.
So it's like it's basically like a teletype terminal type thing.
Right. So you can play it
screen.
over a network or whatever. And here we've created a little world. We seem to be getting a little bit, and it's a pretty big world. I think I can go into debug here and dump the galaxy, which is fun. And I'm getting doubled input somehow. So we're getting 2 pages when we should be getting 1 at a time. But, here's the world we're cruising around in. And, we're going to have the standard.
Shields up. Oh.
Yeah, the standard Trek rules and so forth. But I want this to be playable over a serial port, also playable over network. So there'll be the difference from the old Trek is there'll be multiple players, and you're not just you against the world. It's you against however many people we can cram into this game. Anyway, I just wanted to do something with the little TFR thing that I've been playing with, because saying, yeah, I can plug it in and do a directory. Oh yeah. So I actually wanted to do some development on it, get some things done to prove that you can work on this thing. It doesn't, you know. Now, I'll admit I did some of the development on a Coco because it has EOU, so it has the
Okay.
extended error codes, not just numbers. And you
Now,
know.
does Henry have plans of making a driver for this serial that's a little bit more intelligent, that, like, say, emulates some BT52
yeah.
or something a bit more primitive?
I'm sure there's more coming. I just wanted to get something going now, you know, because he's developing stuff as we speak, and I've seen a little bit of it. But you know, it's just what I'm into right now. I'm also working on the electronic book.
Oh, cool.
As an experiment, but you'll notice each switch has 2 buttons. I'm going to test the difference between having just a resistor, one resistor pulled up, versus having potentiometers where you're pulling up and down and in the middle. So by having these 2 buttons, I can run the same program, trying it one way and the second way at the same time, and see what a difference that makes, because it certainly makes a lot more expense if you've got to double up all the resistors and double up all the switches so that you pull up and down at the same time. You know, that makes a more complicated toy. And it is a toy, so it needs to be cheap.
And are you going to collaborate with Mr. Ken Waters there on writing a game in BASIC that uses the electronic book?
I hope so. I was hoping to knock this out in a cheap enough form that people could make it, and then we can do things with it. Just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things out for it already. Obviously, all the educational stuff, but also that game from the Dragon, ironically enough.
I like his idea, which I've adopted, of the half-page size, so you can pretty much operate it with one hand and not have to, you know, book's kind of large and cumbersome and probably more detailed than even our age. We can read a page, you know, half-page size.
Well, except our attention span doesn't last a whole page these days, but
that's true. Yeah,
you'll need like a paragraph version.
Keep it in my bifocal. There.
The buttons will still be big enough that I might be able to see them.
Right. Yeah, you could use your thumb.
Like, Ken, you were talking a few weeks ago, I think, about, you know, possibly trying to design a game or something based on the electronic book. Have you got some ideas now, or?
I guess you'll have to watch my channel and find out.
Oh, okay.
There we go. There's a shameless plug.
Yeah,
that's Canadian retro things on YouTube.
Insert ad here.
Right.
This guy knows his YouTube.
That's all this show is, a shameless plug for the Coco Dragon, you know. Oh.
Yeah. This is why he can afford the Hawaiian shirts, folks.
Right.
Yeah, come on. I need more people watching my channel so I can afford more Hawaiian shirts.
I need to start a channel so I can get out of this vendor gear.
Anyway, Ken has rejoined us, so welcome back, Ken. Not sure what happened there, but the call just absolutely dropped. So did you want to pick up roughly where you left off?
Yeah, please. This time I'm not going to push my luck about rambling. So we'll get to
the meat and potatoes.
Show us what you got.
And I'm rambling as I explain that, right? So I'll try and avoid rambling about rambling.
Fine.
So, what I've got, it's an internal 32K expansion for the TRS-80 MC10 micro color computer. That's this one here. There's a bit of a backstory that it ships with 4K of RAM, which to anybody who has programmed on a standalone computer would realize how little that really is, right? It's a shockingly small amount of memory, no matter what you're doing with it. And to get around that, so Radio Shack made an expansion pack for it. It's a 16K expansion pack that plugs into the back of the machine.
And that's additional 16K. That's not taking it to 216K. You get a total of 20, if I remember correct.
Correct. You get 20K, but there's a catch. And this is the catch is that the machine has memory mapped video, but it cannot access video memory on the external connector. It must be internal. So that means that you're limited to video modes that have use next to no memory. And
3K or less basically on the VDG.
Yeah, 3K, and then if you have to consider that, you know, if it's standalone, I mean, you can't really use that 3K with the stock basic, because you'd be displaying Basics workspace. Not you know, it doesn't give you a working buffer, right? And so if you have an external like the MCX, one of the MCX boxes, the ROM allows you to sort of rearrange stuff so you can use that memory, right? Anyway, long story short, over the years, there have been do-it-yourself memory upgrades, and one of them was published in, I forget what magazine. It was one of the early magazines, where you could piggyback two 2K RAM chips on top of the existing 2K RAM chips, which would get you up to 8 from 4. And then another guy came along later. This would be like maybe 10 years ago, and just a slightly different approach, putting a single 8K RAM, take out the 2Ks, put a single 8K RAM in there, and do it that way, right? So so I looked at all this stuff. I really wanted my own machine to have more, and but you know, things got you know, I got all like dreamy about the thing, and like there's got to be a better way kind of thinking, right? And so I thought, like, why not? And I'm looking at the memory map. I'm thinking, why not 32K? You know, because the chips are common, you know, so it's just a matter of yeah, how do you do it? And so there isn't really time to go into how it's done, but I can show you some of the features and explain like how it works with this system, right? So first of all, let's see. So here I have this is a CG CG6 video mode running from the MC10, and it is page flipping through the 4 different 8K screens that you can do with this, because it's got total 32K, and it's just a little basic program here, and it's just running through doing a poke that's my test program. You can't see it, like I can't do anything about this, right? So maybe I'll fix that later. Anyway, you're able to display, point the display at one of 4 8K locations in the 32K and just arbitrarily flip through them, right? So that this is doing that. So it's showing you one at a time, the 4 different displays. And I haven't done anything fancy. I just got some stupid color bar. I just wrote a few lines to draw some color bars in just to make sure it's working, right? Now, the other little funny feature, this 32K is battery backed up. And a lot of people ask me why. And I tell them because it was easy. You know, it was a piece of cake. I thought, why not? It was just so stupidly easy. So I threw it in.
That would go well with the micro MC10's battery project, the Porta Coco, because there's an MC10 that's battery operated. So if you have battery back RAM, you can probably make it last longer and carry it around as a portable.
Is it static? Is it static RAM? Is that why?
Yes, it's static.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can change out your main battery pack and not lose everything.
Yeah. So you have to, like, the stock ROM does a cold boot when you do a reset. Like if it loses power and you do a reset, the NVRAM is maintaining everything, but Color Basic doesn't understand that. It doesn't bother. It's just like, okay, we're starting from scratch, and it'll boot. Everything will be there, but not your basic program, because it will run initialization, and it'll just wipe out all your source code, right? Now you could change that in ROM, but not with the stock ROM. Yeah, so it could remember, you could have standalone basic programs which you load from cassette or wherever you want, drive wire, cassette, it doesn't matter. And you could, I guess, I'm thinking more cassette, or you could type it in and whatever, right? And then once it's there, you would have the option of just leaving it there. Like it wouldn't go away. You do reset and all your basic program is still there. But we don't have that because it's not in the stock basic ROM, but it could be changed so that it does that. But in the meanwhile, there are some things you can do with the stock basic. And one is that you could make graphic screens and refer to them in a basic program. So it would be slow to write a screen, but you can access it like that.
So does the basic initialization routine, does it only affect the lower 4K, or is it doing wiping out the entire 32K?
It doesn't know anything about the lower 16K. It doesn't understand it at all. What happens is when basic boots, it looks to see, it does a memory check to see how much is available, and the original device has a kludge on the board to limit it to 4K. But the software just keeps going. It looks until the end of memory. So in this case, it finds 16K because it's.
So there's a portion of memory that it doesn't affect, in which case you could use it as a non-volatile storage.
Correct. Everything for the first half. So the first 16K is not. It's not recognized or understood by BASIC, and so you can use it for whatever you want. And I was going to mention that's like one would be graphics because you can point your graphics there, but the other would be machine language stuff, right? Like you could load machine language games or support
or
for
database.
BASIC. Anything you like, right?
Yeah.
And that does survive any reset. It's not. The reason it survives is because the ROM BASIC doesn't really understand that it's there. In the MC10 kind of design, the first 16K is sort of a nothing.
Yeah, reserved for future use.
Yeah, which nobody, as far as I know, nobody ever has. Although
it's still waiting for it.
I wouldn't bet on it though. Whenever I say anything like that, someone pipes up and say, "Yeah, but there's something." Oh, okay. There always is, somewhere. Maybe we haven't really even heard of it yet. But
isn't this how RAM drives are made?
Yeah. Well, that's the future. Is that it's almost as easy to put a 512K RAM as the 32K.
And they just add some bank switching or something?
Yeah, with bank switching. So, but here's where things get interesting. So I think I should try to show you a photo of what this upgrade looks like. And hopefully this will work. Let's see, is it work? Come on. my
It did on the
screen is,
pre-show test.
yeah, that's funny. It's a demonstration. Oh, is that it?
It's
Yep,
there you go.
there it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Now, not everything is installed on this picture. This picture is showing you only the minimal install. So there's a printed circuit board sort of in the middle behind the connectors. That's the 32K upgrade. And there are 7 jumpers that you need to run to make this work. And what is missing is the page flipping. When it's the basic configuration like this, only shows you the default video page. So I sort of bent over backwards to make everything normal, like that, backwards compatible. That's not going. There's nothing, nothing that breaks the compatibility thing. So it defaults to hex 4000, which is where the normal everything software and everything works. So this would just give you what it gives you is 16K, which basic automatically recognizes and uses, and 16K of invisible RAM below that, which you can use, but basic doesn't understand. Now there are 2 terminals that on the left-hand side that would go to a battery. If you attach a battery, automatically it's battery backed up. And on the right-hand side, you have 2 terminals which select the video page. And if you leave them disconnected, you get the default. Now also these colored wires are an upgrade to the horrible keypad connector cables that the MC10 uses. And
like mylar or something, weren't they?
Yes, and if depending on how your MC10 was stored and what kind of temperatures it endured and so on, that mylar is very likely to have turned to sort of the consistency of a potato chip. And when you start bending it, it crumbles into dust, and you're left with 16 bare wires. So, so I found these replacement connectors online, and they are a really neat replacement. If you're going to be opening the box more than one time, you really want to have this upgrade for the keyboard cables as well. So before I close this, any questions on the image?
No, the MC10 does not have a SAM chip, correct?
That is correct.
So how are you a bit coarser on what you can do for bank boundaries for the video RAM? Like I know in the SAM you can do it on every 512 bytes. Is that the same on the straight VDG, or is it a bit more coarse as far as where you can map video memory?
On the stock MC10 has no bank switching, and my upgrade gives it the ability to switch on one of 4 8K pages.
Okay, so every 8K that's the limit. You can't go any more focused than that. Okay.
There's no more fine-grained, but this week I was looking at the schematics and I realized maybe I might be able to add and break it down a little bit more so there would be 8 pages.
Okay, yeah, because that would help if you're doing lower res where you don't need
That's correct. Yes, exactly right. And so a word of explanation on that is that I'm going to try and close this and not be in trouble. Like oh, here it is. Okay. I'm new to this Zoom business, really. Okay. I think I'm back.
Yeah, your
Oh,
video's
yeah.
frozen. We can hear you fine.
Oh, you're not seeing me now?
No, his lips are moving.
Okay, good. So my approach to designs is very minimal. Like I strive to use the least possible hardware, and often it is just basic old-fashioned TTL stuff, right? I strive to use that stuff and to keep things really, really simple. Rather than thinking about features first, and then how am I going to do it? It's more like the simplest hardware I could possibly come up with, and it's be useful, right? And that's sort of how this happened. And because of that, the granularity of the video and everything is what it is, and not really, really fancy like the SAM.
Now, out of curiosity, so if you have one of Darren Atkinson's upgrade boards, like the SD card /32K or the MCX 128, are those compatible with this, or does that cause problems where they're trying to map RAM to the same spot or something?
It's 100% compatible. Not only that, but the MCX has the ability to use a full 8K buffer that if it's installed, because there were those 8K upgrades that I mentioned earlier were already a long time around when Darren started building that
This basic stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and the only difference here is that there's the 8K and then there's 24K more on top of that. I've tested it with the MCX SD, and it works perfectly with the MCX SD. Only you wouldn't be using any of these features with it. Like unless Darren could be persuaded to support
But
this.
patch the ROM type thing, yeah.
Like one day, but I don't want him to do it yet because I'm maybe not finished. And then just to close out, because I think I've probably used enough time, but when I showed you that picture, maybe it may or may have not been evident, but it's when you start adding upgrades to this machine, because it is so tiny, they get more and more awkward and difficult and dangerous. Like you're in dangerous of damaging and permanently toasting the board. And it's just not easy to work on, right? And so I've been in a lot of discussions with people about where could you go from this, right? And I've reached the conclusion that the proper way to go is a replacement main board that has all this stuff on it, rather than piggybacking and modifying the board. We just have to start with a clean slate and start over again. And that's where, like I met, the 512K, which you could use as a RAM drive, for example, right? That would be that would be on that board, because actually I've already designed the circuits for the 512K, and they're already actually posted in the MC10 Discord. If you have to go back a year, but a lot of this stuff is already worked out, and just there hasn't been time to do it all, and of course doing a whole new main board, that's a huge project, and I didn't want to get into huge projects, but mainly though, now this I've had this working for a long time, but what I did not have is a convenient sort of user-friendly install, because it was all like all piggyback chips and stuff like that, right? So I got it all on a PCB with SMD parts, and maybe I wish. Let's see if I can. If you do I have time to show you like another? Do I have another minute or two?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
We got
Okay,
3
let's
hours
see.
left.
Let me just.
Right, we
go
usually
and
won't be here,
see.
so we have to stretch the show out.
Okay, I just want to see if I can find more. I want to see if I can share. Now, how do I find though a new? Now this isn't okay. Well, okay, we'll just run with that, I think. I was
Yeah, it
going to
looks like the
try
same
and
picture you
find
showed before with the little satellite board and stuff.
it is, and I wanted to show you more a close up, but maybe some other time, because I'm just learning how to share pictures, right? But you can see it here. So there are 2 rows of pins on the sides of the PCB, and there were 2 RAM chips, 2 static RAM chips before in that same location. So what I've done is I've picked up the connections from side A of one of the RAM chips and side B of the other RAM chip. And because they are on the same bus, they sort of equal one. It gives me all the connections, all the address lines and data lines, and it sits over the space where the RAMs were before. So it's a way of supporting the board nicely and without, and also using the pins that are already on the board mostly, and that's the only way you can get this with so few jumpers to the board, because you have to. I haven't talked about the design. That's sort of deliberate because it gets into complicated stuff. But
That could be a
essentially
tech talk segment.
I'll tell you I'll give you the skinny on that though. The way it works. So on the MC10, there's a lot of decode logic for the different parts. So there's a latch for the VDG and the keyboard and the RAM, the ROM, and so on, right? And that logic it's not complicated, but it's complicated to connect to, because, if you're using this kind of jumper solder wire kind of approach, each wire is a pain, right? And when you start multiplying it out by multiple wires, you don't want to be doing a lot of them, right? So I thought, well, look, there's a single chip, which is a LS155 decoder, which sort of it's the main address decode. And I thought, instead of being on the downside of that, where I try and change the RAM addressing that comes out of it, I thought, why not just make a circuit that will modify the address that goes into the decoder. So this thing sits between the CPU and the decoder circuit and just changes things a little bit. So the RAM is bigger and contiguous, so for the entire 32K. And that's how I get away with not having a lot of jumpers, because I don't have to, because I only like way over to the right, upper right, you will see sort of peeking out from under the lid is the decoder IC. And you have to run one jumper to it. You have to make one cut and one little a cut and a small jumper, and then a big jumper over to the upgrade board, and that takes care of everything. It's just good luck, really. I'm not sure where I was going with that. I thought just to explain sort of how it works, right? How is it possible? And then the U12, which has the brown lid on it in the middle, lower middle, that brown lid is the wafer that they use to piggyback their bodge IC, which disappears with this mod. It's no longer needed, so it can be removed.
We have a question for you from 60 as well. And I remember some people mentioning this when they did the 8K RAM onboard upgrades. He said, how are the Sparklies with this? He's talking about the video Sparklies that come out. He said, it might have been mentioned in the Discord, but he's forgotten. Because I do remember when people were doing the 8K upgrades, they'd sometimes see these sparkles, like random pixels just lighting up all over the place. Has that been kind of cleaned up with this as well?
Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you for bringing it up. It's very, very interesting. So when I made my first prototype, before I installed it, I ran all the video modes on a stock MC10, and I saw the sparkles. Now, I hadn't read about it or anything, but they're clearly evident, right? I'm going, oh God, what is this? So then I realized, yes, it's only in certain modes. And then but when I installed my first prototype, they were all gone. Which I thought was happiness, but I didn't know. But now to find out why, it's a very, very complex subject, right? And so I didn't really have time or inclination to really dig into it very much because I got sidetracked, really, as to why does it happen. Because I thought at the time, well, I don't care why. It just does work, right?
Yeah, if it's gone, it's gone.
Well, there's an XKCD about this, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. but yeah, there's a but. Okay, so unfortunately, although this board is 1-to-1 identical with the prototype, it has the Sparklies. It has the same Sparklies.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, and I don't know why. So
subtle timing maybe or something.
It's timing, yes. Yeah. And so here's what I'm doing. So started looking at RAM speeds, and I have ordered, like, this is 55 nanosecond RAM. I ordered some 45-second nanosecond RAM to try it. I haven't got that in my hands yet, so I don't know. But I'm just taking a wild guess that it's probably just like, for some reason, my prototype had super fast RAM and got away with it. And this one, it was just a little bit too slow. Yeah. So I get the new RAMs next week. It'll take me much longer to install and try them, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm just saying, like, well, found and lost. I had it, like, it's sitting over there. I still have it, so I can bring it over, and yes, it definitely works. I just don't know why.
Yeah, well, I think is speculating it might be a grounding issue, maybe.
No, I don't think so. No.
Trace length, something. Your new board's too good.
Too efficient.
Yeah, and when you look at the circuit that does the timing, it's kind of
Who knows?
I don't know what's
How to put it in polite
it's
conversation.
interesting, very interesting, you know.
Fascinating.
And the manual really glosses, the service manual really glosses over it. Like they say, oh, this is how it works, right? Then they even show you a timing diagram that is not to scale to frustrate you even more. And just now a lot of people did speculate on the Discord or imply that they knew why exactly, but a lot of it is just words unless you have, you know, real scope measurements or some really
Right.
decisive information about why. It could be also that, so there is this thing about the VDG can randomly power up in one of two clock modes, rising edge or falling edge. Because it has to double the input frequency for the dot clock. And it does that internally. There's some kind of frequency doubler, and it can power up in one of two states. But I'm thinking that some units, like some actual VDGs, or especially with a system like this, will only randomly power up in one state ever. Yeah, because random includes always one, you know. So I think it's possible that the upgrade that I did just got installed in a good machine, right? And so this whole thing really, I expect that it's going to it'll be a long time before there's really a real answer to that.
Okay, because I've seen some people did the ACAP and they did some, I don't remember what they did specifically, but they did manage to reduce the Sparklies, but it didn't seem to totally solve it in the few I remember seeing. Now, of course, we got replacements like Brendan Donning has an MC10 Coco VGA equivalent, of course, which has VGA output and, you know, that kind of stuff. You're kind of bypassing them. The VDG's not even in there anymore, really. But that's a pretty big whack kludge to do fix that.
Well, it's my understanding is that the MC11?
What does he call it? I'm trying to remember.
Coco VGA, I thought.
Oh, no, wait. This is not an MC10 thing. You're talking about a Coco thing.
No, there's one of each. So. What's the MC10 one? He has the one that stacks the. Has the
it adds a thing between the top and bottom part of the case to expand the amount of room you have inside to add in all this extra stuff.
Well, I have the Coco Pi, if that's what you mean.
No.
Got the joysticks on the front.
But it doesn't have any VDG stuff on it. It's only keyboard and joystick, as far as I know.
Yeah, Brendan's actually has it's basically replaces the VDG with the equivalent of what he did on the Coco VJ, where it gives you expanded text and redefinable characters, but it's all done through like a CPLD or FPGA or something like that.
Well, I'll have to look into that. I wasn't really aware of it, which is surprising.
Isn't the MC10 basically a single board computer, right?
Yes, it is.
And so you're gonna make one with 512 on it in a different box, or you're gonna include the same keyboard, or what are you gonna do? How is it gonna? It's not gonna fit in the case, right?
Yes.
Or would it?
No, yeah, it would. It's going to
okay.
go right back in the same original case.
But you're gonna rearrange stuff and make it all fit.
Yep. Okay. Now, can I fit a Pi key or something like that into it? Question mark. I mean, I'm not planning to do that. But you know, I might try to get some help where maybe something like that could be integrated into it somehow. Mainly though, there's a couple of other things while we're on that subject. So there's a lot of improvements that could be made to the video if only there was a PIA. Like for example, the frame sync is not available on this machine. There's no such thing as a frame sync interrupt or polling. You can't see it at all. And that's kind of a loss. If there was a PIA, it would be very easy to add. And there are other reasons for having a PIA in there too. It would make a big improvement in different areas. So if I do a main board, it would also include a PIA, mainly for that video support.
So you're gonna keep this original ROM, but make additional software changes that'll be an extra ROM on it, or
no? Yeah. So here's my answer. So I've only talked about the internal stuff so far, right? But I have the external, which is a work in progress, right? So this is an external interface for the MC10, and it's got three custom
it's an MPI
expansion slots. It's not quite, because these are not MC10 card edge connectors, like you couldn't put, right? But let's see, I'm missing some stuff. I'll just try, and you have to just sort of visualize that I have a small board that goes on the last one that includes an edge connector, so that you could have something like an arrangement like this. You'd have MC10 is on this side, and then you'd have various expansion boards on this, and additionally, either MCX SD or MCX 128 or whatever you want, or a game cart, whatever you want on the back end. So it sits between those things, right? But the way I designed this thing, it would also be MCX compatible. And
and that's how your software will come in.
Oh, yeah, right. So exactly. So this is a ROM socket. So what it does is, when it's enabled, it disables the internal ROM and allows you to run from this external flash ROM. And that is how you would get additional, get the software to understand what's connected. If you did,
how you fix everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, also, I'd probably come up with a simpler version of this that only has maybe only the ROM and some other junk, right? By the way, this is buffered, so that the top couple of chips here, I got the right. Anyway, no, the bottom chips. The bottom 3 chips are all bus buffers, so everything from this point on is buffered.
Yeah, you don't have a machine to make the plastic enclosure for it. You have somebody make it for you, or wouldn't it need one?
To be determined.
Yeah, last thing you think of, huh?
Yeah. Although I do, for my other stuff, I've been exploring laser cutting. So here's the 6309 or box. So it's got some 6309. It's got a back plane, 3-slot back plane, 3 boards, and the case is laser cut acrylic and wood. So this is a wood base, and then it's got little slots like there and there, and when you
So the fire would start at the bottom.
yeah. More so this one's probably more fire prone. This one is all wood. And so it's got the same 3 boards in it. So I guess like I don't know, I kind of like laser cutting versus
3D printing.
3D printing, just because the result is more, durable. It's really, really hard, really good plastic, or the wood.
No, he didn't go again.
Nope. He fell off the earth again.
Oh, geez.
All right.
I wanted to show this picture. One time I saw an article, I think in Rainbow, where I could add an old Coco keyboard to the MC10, which I did. And it's one of the few projects I ever did way back in the day. And Elaine's using it to type. She didn't like the keyboard on the MC10. So she said, could you make it work? I did. And it didn't last very long, but it was fun to do at the time. It all matches up, I guess, right? Those 2 bars of
your current background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you can see.
Okay.
Does anybody remember the IBM CGA, that when you would have programs that would access the video buffer directly, it would create sparklies on the screen? It had to do with the timing, and the Motorola video chip was used in the CGA.
Yeah, the original CGA cards, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the original CGA cards had a 68 something Motorola.
Was it 45?
6845 or something?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I just shared an article from Brendan Donahue on his Coco VGA page about the MC10 internal memory upgrades, and it covers some of the research that himself, Dennis Bathory Kitts, Ed Snyder, and Geronimo Vanden did, and Darren Atkinson for that matter, all going through and all the different things. And then Brendan discovered a few things beyond what they had done when you're starting to do these types of internal memory upgrades, and why the timing problems there, how to fix it, with some additional stuff by Brendan later on. So it looks like it's kind of solved, at least for the 8K version. I don't know if 32 or 512K would affect that much more, but I posted the link in the general chat here if somebody wants to forward that to the viewer chat if they want to take a look at this themselves.
I already did for the Coco VGA one, has the reference to the MC10 on there.
Okay. So you've got photos like of that extender board that Brendan has in the middle between the top and bottom of the case, and installation photos there.
You should probably wind up talking to him.
Yeah, I think so. That's unfortunate because the chips, the FPGAs and stuff that Brendan's been using are persona non grata now, so we can't manufacture any of these things without reprogramming it all for a different chip.
This guy seems like a Paul Barton in his head. I mean, he's kind of really smart, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, and Ken, he mentions your 2-part series on YouTube about this too.
And Ken's rejoined us. Maybe.
Well, welcome back, Ken. And Ken, we were just talking about, I found the link on Brendan Donahue, the Coco VGA guy, about the MC10 internal memory upgrades and some of the timing and what they discovered between a whole bunch of them, including Darren and Ed Snyder and a few others, which I don't know if you read this particular article before, but the link's in the chat here on Zoom if you want to grab it. It might help you with some of that timing issues. Looks like they went through a lot of the same things. And right now you're still muted, Ken, if you're trying to respond.
Oh, I said thank you. Hopefully I am back online.
Yep.
Yeah, we see you.
So I hope that I don't know when I got cut out there, so I hope I got the majority of it through the majority of it before I dropped off.
I think you did.
Good.
Now, this has been being discussed in the Coco Discord in the MC10 group. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if anyone wants to kind of like follow your progress or even see the history of the project as far as it goes, that's probably a good place to start.
It is, although it goes back so long, like over 2 years, that and there's so much. One thing you can do though is look at the pinned topics, because a lot of those things got pinned.
Okay.
As they should.
Yeah, because if I remember, Mark, there's a limit to how many pins you can do. So sometimes you have to kind of replace them.
Yeah, you either have to combine stuff, or the other thing to do is sometimes what I'll do is I'll take and consolidate some of the search terms for stuff and then stick them in a message and pin them. That way you find a pin to it and it says search for this about this or this about that. Yeah, 50 pin limitation, unfortunately.
Well, here's the thing is, so there's a GitHub page for this project, and there's a wiki feature for every repository, which I often use, and so the details of this particular memory upgrade are going to be there very soon. So it would be a one-stop place to find out whatever you want to know about this project. But as far as ongoing stuff, yes, I usually do post anything that I'm up to in the Discord group.
Excellent.
Cool.
So you're adept at programming in machine language.
I like to think so.
Yeah, I mean, because otherwise, how would you knit it all together, right?
Yeah, well, that's been one of the joys of getting back into this after so many years, is having the opportunity, a real platforms to play assembly language on. Definitely, right? Yeah, oh yeah. And like I'm primarily a hardware person, and I sort of learned a bit about software. So
because you have to.
yeah. Right. Well, in this case, you do.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, because, and here I'll just close out with this, and I promise I am right. But this is the board that sort of started it all, and it's a 63Y03, and the idea it was to make a standalone single board computer using this amazing MCU. And so to get it going, I had to adapt Motorola's MICBug to sort of tweak it and adjust things on it so that it would run on this board. This one never worked. I had to go through a few before I got one that worked. But by that time I was forced to write my own monitor or copy someone else's monitor. And then I had to make quite a few changes to it. And then eventually ended up writing a lot more assembly, and that's been an incredibly rewarding and fun activity. I'm really glad I got back into that. But you're right, it's a necessity with these small systems like this. It's the only way. Even if you're eventually writing stuff in high level, you have to get the high level onto the machine, or at least figure out how to cross compile for it. And in which case you still need to know some assembly language, right? So so I've actually written quite a lot of increasingly more and more assembly code. and yeah, it's a blast. I really enjoy.
Are you a gamer?
No,
No.
I'll say right off the top, I'm not. I'm like
You're a user.
sort of Tetris. I'm a Tetris player.
Okay.
It's like Ron with defense.
Yeah. I play like one
The
thing.
one game he plays.
Yeah. And, you know,
I wouldn't say no games because actually I was having fun with Pong. Was it Breakout or Pong? Trying to think now. It's an older Coco game, and when I got my FujiNet adapter on my Coco, I started surfing through the games because I had played those back in the day, right? And settled on the Pong game, and then my son and I were playing it the 2-player game for a while. But I you know what, where I could put might end up feeling comfortable is more like writing games, because I enjoy like sort of I like sort of the technical aspects of games, and I like looking at them and thinking about them, but as a player, I'm a loser all the time, right? So you know, you can see why. But I could make games that I could win. Yeah, there you go. But as far as a competitive player, absolutely, nah, I can't. It's just like I say, I have the best excuse I have for it is that I'm a loser.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. We've got some. Have you posted links to the GitHub or whatever that you got the project on that people want to follow?
I can try and dig one up while you guys carry on.
We can throw the
try
chat
and
a little
post
bit later on here. So
Yeah, just post it in the Zoom chat, and I'll make sure they get.
Yep.
shoved in the show.
Okay.
well, you're welcome
Will
to
do.
come on the show, you know, every week if you want, and give us
Or every other
ideas
week,
on
whatever
stuff.
works.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll take you up on that. Maybe not next week, but as significant events happen, then for sure I'd be
yeah,
delighted.
and I think there is a good possibility of doing a technical talk with Mark's Coco Talk or Coco Tech. To, like you were saying, you know, do a deep dive in how it works and a deep dive in how to get rid of the sparklies and that kind of stuff too. So
No asparagus.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks for having me.
Sorry for the connection problems there, but
Oh, I think it's on my end, but whatever.
Okay. Commercial time? Break time?
Yeah, better now
Sure.
over an hour. Make it so.
Hello, everyone. It's your good buddy, your good pal, Amigo Aaron, joined by that dastardly The Brent from ARG Presents.
You're watching CoCoNation.
I feel like this should have been longer.
The CoCoNation Show would like to thank the following patrons: AC's 8-Bit Zone, Alex Gayer, Alan Huffman, Boysentech, Brendan Donahue, Brian Walsh, Brian Weasler, Kieran Ascom, Coconut Bob, Daddy Burrito, David Ladd, Derek Smithson, Diego BF109, Don Barber, Eric Canales, Frederick Segard, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Wabke, Grant Leedy, Henry Gernhardt, Henry Strickland, Jason Warnes, Jim Mullis, Jeffrey Drywater, Justin Larson, Ken Reichard, Patrick Hewland, Paul Fuscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, R. Allen Murphy, Retro Tech Time, Richard Harding, Rob Inman, Rocky Hill, Steve Bateson, Tech Dungeon, Terry Trapp, TJB Chris, Tom C., Tom Gunderson, Tom S., and William A. Thing. Thank you so much, patrons. If you would like to support the CoCoNation show, sign up at patreon.thecoconation.com.
Hey everyone, I'm TJB Chris, and I'm watching the CoCoNation live show, and so are you. And probably shouldn't be pointing that thing at you. Enjoy!
Welcome to everybody's favorite segment, Who's New to Discord?
DJedi1 says, "Hi, I'm Michael, Coco owner since the Coco 1 came out. Back in the day I wrote several 1- and 2-liner entries for Rainbow magazine. Frantic Fingers was my favorite, and a few reviews for them. I also ran my own Coco BBS for a while and wrote multiplayer online games for it. I'm primarily looking to find a good home for a bunch of my ancient Coco hardware and software that I've kept all these years." The previous bios were edited for time. Thanks to Boysentech, Frederick Micro Hobbyist Sigard, Glenside Computer Club, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Tandy Color Computer 3, Wingnut 2626, and the CoCoNation patrons for boosting the server. Please consider joining Discord and visiting the welcome section to read these bios in full and see what the community has to offer. Just go to discord.thecoconation.com.
See you on Discord.
When you want the latest in TRS-80, Tandy, Dragon, MC-10, and all of their hardware cousins, no matter what it takes, or where news breaks, from around the world to your nation, the CoCoNation News with L Curtis Boyle.
Okay, you're up.
Okay, as is our new tradition here, we start with the Dragon News. And this was actually originally posted as a link from a message in the World of Dragon archive forums. And basically, Blue Arcus, and I did know his real name at one time, but I can't remember off the top of my head, so my apologies. But he uploaded a link to a utility called VDK2DSK to his GitHub, which you're seeing on the screen here. And this will convert VDK disk images to the JVC disk format, including options for controlling header output. Now, the VDK is kind of like the DMK and the SDF, like the ones that have the full sector descriptions with headers and CRC bytes and all that kind of stuff. And what he was trying to do, I believe, was trying to run some stuff on the Mister, and the Mister doesn't accept those disk formats yet on running a Dragon, and they're the Mister's not quite emulation, but virtual machine. And he wanted a utility that would kind of like take ones that aren't oddball formats with like, you know, single density on track 0 and double density on the rest of it or something like that. But to convert it down to just a plain old disk image, which VCC and MAME also support, which is basically just the raw data part of a sector. It doesn't have all the header bytes and post bytes and CRCs and all that kind of stuff. So you uploaded the utility here. You can grab that if you have actually want to get some stuff from the Dragon running on a Mister. This is probably the easiest way to convert some of the disk images you may already have that are using the more extended format that is the default for the most of the Dragon stuff. And he's got his little README file here, but you can actually download the actual source code and everything else is here for you. Next step after that, Tom Eric Gunnarsson mentioned that he was actually, that might be him that's actually Blue Arcus, or at least he was working with him, because he's basically uploaded a zip file here to the Dragon group on Facebook of a whole bunch of games converted from DMK down to the DSK, so it'll run on the Mister. And he mentions a bunch of the games that are here, like Chucky Egg and K-Fighter, Glax Stacks. Some are a mix of some of the original Coco titles, some of the mix of the original Dragon titles. But he's actually got a fair bit here, so that you've got this nice little demo if you have a Mister and you install the Dragon core on it and you want a series of disk images that are already converted to the format that the Mister understands. This is kind of a pre-done release with about 30 or so games on it. Maybe 20, 25, ready to go. And some pretty good classics in there, so you can grab that from the files section group on Facebook. Next up after that on the Dragon as well, Gary Moulton put up a video that shows the production test software running on a Dragon 32. Now, this is the test software the Dragon Data themselves used to test the Dragons as they came off the assembly line to make sure everything was working. And it'll remind you a little bit of the diagnostic cart that Tandy did. Now, he mentions here that normally the testing is interrupt driven, but I was taking up that role, hence the long pauses. So I'm assuming what he meant there is that the original Dragon Data version was meant to be fast, doing the checks here and actually go through all the different checks automatically. on its own with some sort of interrupt-driven system that would tell it, okay, that test is done, on to the next one. But he purposely changes so you can actually like watch it switch between them, manually rather than blistering through them all. The video I don't believe is very long, so maybe I'll just play a little bit of it here. Probably don't need the volume up because it's probably just air noise too. So it's doing a bit of sound. It's doing some of the color tests there, the VDG tests. Checking the joysticks. I'm not sure exactly what else it's doing under the hood here, but as far as joystick reads. And keyboard test. I was hoping like maybe some of the people that worked at Tandy back in the day, like Richard of Boisentech and a few others there, to see if Tandy had a standardized thing. I don't think they used the diagnostic cart manual. I think that was meant more for users. But I don't know if Tandy, I assume they would have, but they would have had some sort of standardized software for doing these tests very quickly.
No, we had the cartridge.
Really? You guys have to actually do everything manually then, eh? It is just automatically ripped through?
Yeah, just go through one test each time.
Oh,
one
okay.
at a time. It didn't take long. And there's a different piece of software we used for the floppy drives.
Okay. So anyway, that was kind of interesting. I've heard about that. I've seen screenshots of that particular thing, but I've never seen it actually running. And it doesn't seem to be quite as robust as some of the stuff I've seen on the diagnostic check, but I think some of that was like, I think there's options on the diagnostic card to like move the joystick to draw stuff on the screen pixel-wise, if I remember. Is that right? Do you remember, Mark?
Yeah, on the Tandy cartridge, yeah, you did the joystick and then you move the joystick and it drew stuff on the screen. You hit the fire buttons to like lift the cursor.
Okay, and then that way you could test the range like the 0-0 work and you actually get to a corner, etc.
Yeah, corner to corner, and then test the fire buttons. You can doodle with it.
It's like a poor man's art gallery.
Or etch a
You can't
sketch.
save your picture though.
Yeah, it's kind of like etch a sketch.
Yeah.
And the different joysticks were different
after
colors.
that we have yeah, because it basically used the 4-color mode if I remember correctly. Next up after that, we got Julian Brown giving us kind of an update. So he's been working on CPLD programming for his replacement for the VDG for his Dragon ATX project, which is going to be basically a ATX style motherboard that you can then plug in little module boards to cover like VDG and the SAM and RAM and various other things there. So you can kind of like modularize and replace just certain pieces of it with updated hardware, etc. if you wanted to. And he was fighting for quite a while trying to get the VDG to work. He was having some issues that I think we covered in the last week. But he mentioned here earlier this week on July the 14th, that milestone moment this morning. After a 3-day-long fight with the CPLD programming software, I finally have the basic version of the 6847 PAL timing logic on a CPLD. And one of the things he also wanted to be able to do was be able to switch between NTSC and PAL timing. I think there's a bit of details here. He said, like, the lesson here is if you have ever thought that retro 8-bit computing carries problems due to lost or missing code or documentation, wait until you try something from the 2010s that is still officially supported. The software in question here, and he says there's 2 versions, are supposed to work with every version of Windows from XP through Windows 10 and unofficially with Windows 11. The XP version ran but wouldn't recognize the USB programmer, and the drivers for it are missing from the supplier's website. All the others just crash out on startup due to missing DLLs. Welcome to DLL hell under Windows. I remember this well. So anyway, yeah, it looks like he finally got everything working, and it turns out it had nothing to do with what he was trying to program. It was actually doing with the software tools he was using. God, I hate it when that happens. Anyway, good to hear you got it working though. Next up after that, this is a Spanish YouTube channel called Belisuco, and he posted a video basically showing some European PAL Coco 2s are getting unboxed, and he goes through a bit of history of it. And it's got a bunch of music in the background that I don't really want to play because I don't know if it's public domain or not. It's mostly closed captioning, and you can see like here some of the cases. This is one of the ones that was sold in Europe, so it's got multiple languages on here. Like the Canadian ones are French and English. The American ones, I think, are just English. I don't think they ever put Spanish or anything like that on it. But here you're seeing like, English, French, and German, I believe the bottom one is. A Firebird computer. And but they kind of explain the history of like a little bit of history of the Coco 2 itself and the Coco and some of the manuals. You can see some of the other places where it's distributed, you know, back in the Coco 2 days. Too bad they didn't do this all over the Coco 3. But at a certain part here, they actually mention what they found, which I thought was quite interesting. So I'll just play it and you guys can kind of read along, discuss if you want.
Nunca fueron vendidas, ni conectadas,
Nope,
ni
I'll
siquiera
turn on the subtitles. English. Back up just a hair here. So they gave you a bit of history of what they found, and then you'll see some pictures of it showing up shortly.
años. Estas consolas nunca fueron vendidas, ni conectadas, ni siquiera
So basically what they found here was some Coco 2s sold in Europe PAL versions that were never actually sold. They're still in the original box, original packaging, plastic, manuals,
sus manuales, sus plásticos, sus números de
and a whole set of them, not just one.
Nadie sabe por qué. Nadie sabe cómo.
Yeah, I'll leave that out, but... And they said they don't know why these were never sold or never sent out or collected or anything else, but yeah, they got a whole set of PAL Cocos, basically brand new in the box. So that was quite a find.
They're T1s.
Looks like it, yeah, from the Tandy logo and stuff. And I think it's the 21B, whatever it is. 31, 27B.
Yep. On the birthday.
Yeah. And the serial number, even if you look here, like they're consecutive. This must have been shipped directly from Intertan. Like there's the 80, here's a 79. I think the next one's a 78.
Right.
Ending digits. So, yeah. So consecutive numbers. It's like collecting dollar bills with consecutive numbers.
Yeah, I just print my own.
Now, we've been told by Mark Siegel that, you know, serial numbers meant nothing and they just reuse numbers or jump numbers or whatever else. So it's really hard to pin down, you know, sales. But all the ones I've seen that have been PAL related, I think have been in the 2 million range. So I think they reserved 2 million up for European sales. And there's a chunk in a row of, you know, 178 through 181. Doesn't really tell us anything because that means, yeah, I'm pretty sure they sold more than 181 of them in all of Europe.
It kind of brings up a good point. Even if you don't care about the serial numbers, you've got to keep the sticker on the computer and the stamp on the box aligned. So you've got to care somewhat. You know,
yeah.
Well,
like that always struck me as strange.
These don't need to be open for any reason, really, except for what if you were going to do some kind of.
Well, I think when you're making them, you know, you could imagine, okay, I've just got a big box of serial number stickers and I stick one on the Coco and that's its number.
No.
But now you need the matching number on the box, which came off a different line. It's
probably for inventory control.
Yeah, complicated. Yeah.
So are they selling these or what?
Yeah, could I get
I don't think they really said at the end of the video here, so I'm not sure if there's plans to do so.
Just like, hey, look what I got.
Yeah, and like I said, they explained like the first half of the video is basically a talk over of a history of the Coco 2 itself, somewhat. And then they mentioned the fact we found 4 boxed, never opened, never sold, manuals, still sealed in plastic, all the little spacers and stuff to hold in the box firmly, et cetera, is there. So yeah, it was quite the find, I have to say.
Yeah.
And they're all 64K extended basic too, so they're like maxed out for the time. And as Ron pointed out, they're most likely the T1 VDG true lowercase ones as well. So
right, don't get no better.
Yeah. Those are pretty rare to find in the States here. Now here's 4 PAL ones ready to go. Next after that, we have Dave Bernazzani, who we talked about last week. So he's been doing a Dragon and Coco emulator basically for the DS, the Nintendo DS, the dual screen ones, which we actually had Peter of 8-Bits in the Basement fame actually sent us a video that we showed last week where he's actually was trying it out with Daggerrath and a few other games here. Well, he's done some updates on this. So he's mentioned he's up to version 1.1. He's worked on most of the remaining bugs, and a very reasonable percentage of the library now runs correctly. And this runs cartridges, cassette files, and disc files, which is really cool. And just cassette files if you're doing Dragon 3264, but it will play basically all 4 platforms. He said the main holdout right now is OS 9 programs which do not yet load. It's related to my floppy disk controller emulation, which is good enough for the full disk basic into working, but OS 9 routines are just different enough that my timing isn't working for them. Fortunately, there aren't many OS 9 programs with the Coco 2 64K, so it's not a massive loss, but I'll continue to refine my timing. I would say all of the OS 9 stuff for the Coco 2 requires 64K because that's what it did. But there was a fair bit of stuff. I mean, not as many game things. I mean, there was quite a few stuff like TS Spell and TS Edit and that kind of stuff as well. But there are some games like Inner Bank Incident and Cave Walker and, you know, some others that I would consider to be somewhat classics. Plus, you know, the third-party market. Jim Gary's made a couple dozen games that run on the Coco 1, 2, for example, for OS 9 level 1. So hopefully it gets that working too. It'd be kind of cool to do that. And we saw, of course, with Peter's video last week, you know, how you use the touchscreen with your little pen stylus to punch in keys on the keyboard. I don't know if I'd try to, like, you know, enter an OS 9 shell and start programming a Basic 9 using it that way, but you could. But cool to see that he actually got an upgrade with a bunch of bug fixes here so quickly after the original release, like less than 2 weeks later. And he's got his main project page link here, which actually we had the show notes 2 weeks ago. Same link this time around if you want to take a look at the project and give it a download. I think if I remember correctly, there's some hoops you have to get through to get it to actually get it installed in Nintendo DS, because Nintendo's notorious for cutting off any third-party hacks to any of their hardware, even if it's, you know, decades old type thing. Them and Disney did the third parties. So, but Peter, I think, kind of talked about that a bit in his video as well. Next up that, we got a short video clip that came from Antonio Caballero, who, of course, did the Coco Tower power cartridge things. And he did 2 heights of those for, you know, how many cartridges you want. You can get 20 in a case, or 20 in a set, or 40 in a set. And then he was showing off last week some still shots of his new ones that actually have the top part being a SD card reader, because, of course, anybody with a Coco SDC has got SD cards, and you could buy some games like Timberman from Paul Thayer on an SD card. Or you can custom make your own. I know multiple people are making labels, you know, for certain games if you want to just pull it out an SD card, even though you're wasting most of the card, but throw the one disk image for the game you really, really like, and you don't have to keep looking for and hunting through menus and necessarily explore. So this time you actually released a video, kind of show you rotating through and showing you what it looks like. So I'll play that briefly here. And here it looks like he's got like SD and compact flash, it looks like. So going back to the older days when compact flash from Mark Marlette had a compact flash reader controller. But it looks pretty good. And this can serve as the topper for the main one for your kind of combine the 2 into 1 unit, or you can just get this little bit separately if you want. And as you can see in the links here, you follow the show notes, which of course are published on the Coco Discord, and you get the links to all the stories we talk about on the show. He's actually got the direct link here on his Facebook post to Thingiverse. This is all, you know, freely available stuff. If you have your own 3D printer, you can download the files and print this yourself. You don't have to get it from him. Next up, this was actually, I found it yesterday, and then also Alan, Exile in Paradise, also found this link here. Now, I'm not sure. This is a blog called Leaded Solder, which is kind of dangerous and not sold legally anymore, I don't believe. But basically, it's a Coco 1 composite video. Yeah, and the thing is here, I don't know who this is. Like, does anybody know who specifically Leaded Solder is? I didn't get a chance to actually really check, so I don't know if he's like a regular viewer of the show, or might he be a panelist for all I know. Maybe it's Rick in disguise. Anyway, he goes through this talk about how to get the composite video out of a Coco 1 with, you know, nice diagrams and, you know, the boards, and it's based originally on the circuit by Marty Goodman, regular in the Rainbow, and then modified by Barry Nelson. I think there was another mod after that too. But they give you nice diagrams, pictures, so it's a really nicely presented way of going through and making one of these suckers. But if you have a Coco 1 and want to get some better video output, and also have a separate cable for the sound, if you want to hook it up to honking big stereo speakers for Dungeons of Daggerath to play after midnight in your basement, here you go. Next up after that, we have, this was a rather interesting post that I just saw this morning, but I came in fairly late yesterday. So a person named Annan Berendt said, new to the group, one of my favorites is my collection from my dad and his fraternity brother. They were the engineers of interest, wrote Colorpede. And he's actually got a Mark Data Products Super Pro keyboard here, which I'm sure Ron's familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
Probably an inverse video switch over here as well. And even the instructions came for the Mark Data Products. Now, the thing is, I two original engineers for Intracolor, and that's last name Bernhardt's not either of them. So, it could be a whole bunch of reasons why the name's a little bit different. But I did actually I sent him a question to ask which of the two he was involved with. Because I did talk to Mr. Clark, who was the person that did the main writing. There was a second person that did a lot of the sound routines for all the Intracolor games, from Colorpede, Robotac, Grand Prix, Woolies Warehouse, Candy Co., etc. And just to see if I don't know if they're still around, but I did talk to David back in the day when I got approval to put the Intracolor games up on the website, the Coco Games website, legally, like with permission from the original author, which he did. Thank you, David. I don't know if he's still around, and I don't know if this guy is related to David or if he's related to Bob, but it looks like he might have replied. Let's see what he said here. Oh, Phil, original wanted to be. Oh, silent partner development role. Okay, so he's only there for the original launches. Cool. Might have to see if we can get an interview together, and if they're still in contact with David and the other guy that ended up doing stuff afterwards, it'd be pretty interesting to get that, because the only contact I had with him was way back, like 25 years ago, just through email. And I think Intracolor actually was one of the ones that did some of the classics. Colorpede is by far the best Centipede clone on the Coco 1 and 2. And Robotac, other than the fact the indestructible Hulks aren't indestructible, it's actually probably visually the best by far version of Robotron 2084 for the Coco, although I will say that the Bumblebee software one called Cyborg Wars actually plays a bit closer to the arcade, but the graphics are lower res, and it uses the standard 4 colors, so it just doesn't quite look like Robotron. And of course, you want the authentic experience, you can get Glenn Hewlett's Coco 3 transcode, which is playing the actual arcade code itself. Next up, we were mentioning on the pre-show here, Mark was mentioning that currently going on right now in Canberra, Australia, is a officially sanctioned VCF event for Australia. The Canberra Vintage Computer Exhibition 2025 at the Darramalin College. Darramalin, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But a person named Mark Castellasian, I'm not sure how to pronounce it either. Boy, I'm going to be butchering names today. Now I know how you feel, Mark B. But he posted a photo there with a Coco 3 on display, which I thought it would show. And he apologized for all the red. It's from the heater on the wall. I didn't think Australians ever needed heaters. But this guy seems to be a booth table here set up for basically Tandy stuff, because you can see like a Tandy Model 4P here, a Model 1 keyboard here, Coco 3 over here. And I think he's playing Puyan, if I recognize the screenshot of the timer stuff. And some Tandy 1000 style stuff over here. So I don't know who all made it down. Let's have Danielle made it down. But there we got one picture from the show anyway. And then lastly, there was another show that was on last night, the Wisconsin Computer Club show. And a guy named Alex McComber had his Coco 1 on display, and he's playing Androne here. And he has a bit of a description of the Coco 1. And I'm not familiar with this particular group. I do know some like Michigan computer clubs that have, had Cocos and stuff in the past, but I'm not aware of one in Wisconsin. And Rick, you're technically in Wisconsin?
Technically, but I'm in the very southwest corner, and these guys are bopping around Green Bay, Stevens Point, sort of the middle of the
way
state.
Up near the northern part.
So,
okay.
So it's a pretty good cruise. Yeah.
Yeah, because that'd be interesting, like to get a bit more info on this particular group too. Because if they have some active Coco people there that know what they're doing, that would be great. We have them come on the show and promote their stuff, and and expand the community. So, Alex, if you're listening to this or watching it, please get a hold of us. You can get a hold of me at curtisboyle@sasatel.net, and we'll see if we can get you on the show to help promote the next time you guys have one of these meetings, and see what your Coco history is too. So that's all I had for Coco and Dragon news. I'm going to save the upcoming shows for the end because there's a couple shows going on this week, and like this Wisconsin one, the VCF in Australia is still going on. Boat Fest just happened last week. I didn't get a chance to download all the photos yet, though I have seen a few of them go flying by at the Amigos Discord. I did see that Bo did mention that they broke attendance records for the show, which is good to hear. I know they also had a, which I forgot to show a week or two ago, sorry, but they actually got John Schaller Boat being interviewed on one of the local TV stations for a lengthy interview about the retro computer show that they've, of course, been running, formerly called Boat Fest. But they had, I think, about a 10 or 12 minute. They even had an old Mac there to kind of demonstrate what kind of stuff they show off at the show, etc. So I'll have to bring that up a little bit later when I get the pictures and stuff. I'll show that commercial at that point. But yeah, it looks like there's a couple of clubs I didn't know about here, so that's cool. Like I said, I'll show the upcoming shows a little bit later. I will also do the Game On show news after the Game On show itself. That's a cue for you, Ken. Maybe a cue to wake up.
Sorry, I was away from the computer for a second. I just heard my name. What?
You're on.
I'm on. I didn't see the
You didn't see Lana?
Okay, well then run the results video then if I'm on.
Oh, that's my clue to run the results video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how I know that I'm supposed to start.
That's the CoCoNation, folks. This show runs as smooth as butter.
So, a bunch of miscues.
By the clock.
Frozen butter when you're trying to butter toast. It's like that.
Well, Cocos don't really have a real-time clock, so.
Oh, that. Welcome everybody to the CoCoNation Game On Challenge of the Week results video. This week we played Snake Pit. We had a total of 13 players. We had Mark B with 100, Frederick 500, Albert Marsh 1040, Jim Rye 1150, Doug V 4850 1190, Mike Zweifel 1250, Coconut Bob 1330, L Curtis Boyle 1400, Canadian Retro Things 1450, Sloopy Malibu 1740, Shenley 3580, Tasman 5670, and the number one score this week was Dr. Ted with 9480. Thanks everybody that played, and we'll see you again next week.
And the CoCoNation salutes Dr. Ted. Salute.
All right, so Snake Pit. I looked through. I couldn't find any reviews on it. It was a later game in the Coco life of 1989. So was this one?
Rainbow was around for a couple years at that point. Left, but yeah, they didn't have a review either. I didn't get a chance.
No, I didn't. I looked on as much as I could find anything. Even on some of the other sites, I didn't see anybody ever review it.
Okay, like I do remember the ads in Rainbow because it was mentioned in the Game Point software ads. But
so was this one that Steve wrote earlier and then released later, or was it just something like Nick, where he just decided to go back to something a little more?
I think he just decided to go back from. I remember there was a couple unreleased games that he had that he'd shown at Coco Fest and stuff here that he never did. Like he wrote back in the early to mid 80s and just never released it. He didn't think they were quite good enough. But that one I think was a planned release that would work in all three Cocos basically.
Because I think that's even a pretty late one for a Snake game in the life.
Yeah, though it's a bit
computers.
more advanced than a standard Snake game.
It's definitely it's definitely got some more things in it than a regular Snake game, but
even has some multi-voice music, it plays every once in a while, so
that would imply that I'd have to turn the sound on. So, tips and tricks for that game. Basically, be very careful. Kind of keep an eye on how long an egg has been flashing for, because more than once I went to grab one of them and it turned into a snake just before I got there. So,
Yep. Insta death.
It's also kind of a good idea to let a few snakes hatch and then they lay more eggs, so you can actually get more points by. And you also get points for killing the snakes. So,
yeah. The only real tip I had was, especially the beginning game, I don't know if this will work later on when there's a lot of snakes right off the start of the level, but because the snake eggs always come from the tail end of the snake, you can kind of follow the tail so that you can pick them up like right away before they even have a chance to start blinking. But it's a bit dangerous because you're also near the snake.
Yeah.
But I did find that on level 1 and maybe level 2, that actually allowed me to play a little bit better, I think, getting the eggs a lot quicker. Before you have like 15 on the screen and 5 of them blinking, like which one do you go for before it spawns a snake?
Although you do get more points, I think, for getting them while they're blinking. So,
yeah,
yes,
that's that greed factor.
Yep, and I'm greedy.
Never works out for me.
Hey, if it wasn't for my greed, I wouldn't be scoring these middle of the road scores every week. And Marco, how come you never posted a score?
I got delayed yesterday. Can't remember what I was doing. I was running errands and I forgot to post it.
You should have posted it right after the live show on Thursday.
I should, but I use OBS and I write a video and then I have to pull it up in VLC and then I have to do a screen capture of that, take a snapshot, and then I got to upload it. Yeah, it just takes time.
Or do what I do. Just go back into the video during the Game On Challenge and just take a screenshot of that.
Yeah.
Do you have more than one computer?
Me?
Yeah.
More than one?
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, I have more than one, much to my wife's dismay. The computer I'm using now has 3 screens, and the one I do Game On Challenge also has 3 screens. Most of the others I only have 2.
Yeah.
Anyway.
See,
I have to say one thing about this game, though, the difficulty ramps up pretty damn quick.
Very fast, yeah. That's why we started on level 1, so that people actually would have a chance to maybe even beat the level.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one a bit surprising because Steve was usually really good at doing balanced. You'd get more difficult, and if you start dying twice in a row, it would back off the difficulty. Not in this case.
Well,
you're thrown to the wolves pretty quickly.
It was a bit later in the time, like in 1989, so maybe he had a whole bunch of people saying, "Oh, well, your games are too easy." So he said, "Yeah, screw you, here."
Yeah. Could very well be. But yeah, I mean, even on level 2, you start with 2 snakes, but if you let a couple eggs go, suddenly you get like 6 snakes on the screen at once, and you're trying to sneak between them and hit eggs before they spawn even more. And
it quickly goes downhill from there.
Yeah. Now, I didn't catch the beginning. I didn't catch your guys' live show too much at all. But I believe it's joystick controls only, or is there keyboard option?
Well, I mean, you can always set one of the emulators to run the keyboard as a joystick. But
I'm just thinking, like playing on the original Coco, that game to me would have been much easier with keyboard controls because it's a bit more precise and having to push your joystick all the way to the side to change directions, which have that delay, and you keep missing. You miss by one track of one row or column of egg positions, and you have to keep fiddling with it, trying to get it with a keyboard. I think you'd have more precise controls.
Well, that's my life of playing snake games. I'm perfect at always getting on either side of the egg, but
not right on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there anything really to be gleaned from the manual? Did you guys find the manual? Because I know I have it somewhere, so I'm pretty sure I scanned it, put it up in the archive way back when.
Yeah, it's on the archive.
Is there any details that most people might not recognize if they just saw the game?
I wasn't there for the reading of the manual, so I don't know.
Okay. Did Mark read it? Mark
I believe I did. That's where I know that the blinking egg is more points than the non-blinking egg.
That was the week before that you read it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've slept since then.
Your brain reset. Yeah.
Resets every morning. Reboots every morning.
You need that static RAM battery backed upgrade we were talking about earlier for the MC10.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, as snake games go, it's probably one of the better ones that I've ever played. I know a few people were having a little bit of problems with the controls on it.
Like me.
The controls were a little twitchy. That
Yeah.
would be my biggest complaint. Like playing the game, you have to keep the joystick going in the direction that you want to move. And if you have the slightest little bit of handshake when you say you're pressing down, then the snake will turn either left or right.
Very frustrating.
Like, and you needed a bigger zone of.
Yeah. Plus, if you got too many snakes on the screen, didn't it start to slow down too? So it's even get more jumpy trying to time stuff.
I don't know. I never made it high enough to have a lot of snakes on the screen.
I didn't notice that. They're always moving fast.
Yeah. It was a very fast.
For snake game, I really liked it. I thought this,
Yeah.
like,
No,
other than the
I
controls,
absolutely liked it. The controls, I think, if I were to play it again, I would set my emulator to have the keyboard as the control. Then you're going to get rid of that little bit of twitchiness on the joystick.
Because it takes you physical time to move a joystick right to left, whether you're using a free-floating Black Beauty or a Deluxe or anything else here.
Yeah, it does.
There's a finite amount of time added to your being able to steer versus just hitting down or instantly going down.
I think quite possibly that's something that, Steve maybe did is the reason that the joystick's so touchy and twitchy is that just having to move the joystick a little bit, you do change direction. So as you're moving towards a different direction, you're changing immediately. But that also means that if you have any kind of a twitch, it changes direction.
Yeah.
And I have lots of twitches.
Yeah. All of us old people do.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about here, but yeah.
This is my key repeat.
Yeah. Yeah, and I adjust the speed. Left hand, I get about 50 characters a second, and my right hand, it's about 45. So
there you
go. Yeah, definitely one of the better snake games. And actually, it's kind of funny that, like that came out in 1989, and then the snake games were such a big thing when cell phones came out.
and that's even like pre-smartphone. That's like the old Nokias and stuff. Yeah.
And I'm surprised that nobody copied kind of that type of game. Like, I don't remember ever seeing him. Just the basic snake game is all they ever had on the phones and stuff.
Yeah, basically cut the snakes off. This added the whole eggs, and the eggs leaking, I guess, as they were described in the manual, but basically hatching.
Well, the original one is you're just the eggs don't hatch. You just got to go around and get an egg, and then your body grows as you get the eggs, and then you got to keep from hitting yourself. And once you get like 12 or 15 on a level, then that's the end of the level.
Yeah, I found this one much more interesting to play.
Yeah.
The only complaint I had was the controls a little bit and the slowdown, because there was once or twice where a whole bunch of eggs hatched at once, and I suddenly had 6 or 7 on the screen at once, and then there was a noticeable lag. And it was maybe even more twitchy. You think it's bad when it's running at full speed. It's even worse. Because then you're trying to overcompensate, because the joystick has to move all the way to move. And then now all of a sudden the game slowed down in the middle of it because all these snakes launched, and then your timing's off again. So yeah, it was pretty difficult. Like I said, for a ramping up difficulty, this was surprising for Steve York game, because it ramped up, I thought, even for us, back in our youth in '89. I think would have still been a bit difficult. I'd be interested to see if Rainbow Scoreboard had any of that game mentioned in there, and if they got real good scores, or was everybody kind of down around the 10,000 mark or something?
Yeah, that. I mean, if Dr. Ted can only score, what did he score? Like just under 10,000, I think,
or just over 10. Yeah.
So. That it's a hard game.
Yeah.
Like he didn't beat us by everybody else's scores combined. He only doubled
or orders of magnitude.
Yeah, he only doubled the next score, the next highest score, I think. So.
Yeah. Just looking in the chat here, like Scott Cooper says, I enjoyed the game. A nice twist on the snake game idea. I totally agree.
Yep, I do too. I wish more snake games would have followed that formula.
Yeah. Quick aside, the copy on the archive, I think, is actually my original one, and I purchased directly from Steve himself because he was at the Game Point booth when I bought it.
Oh, cool. All right, so I guess that is it for Snake Pit. So our other game that we played is Whacky Food, I think, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. My
And
Arcade Animation Inc.
Apparently it's got a few bugs. Now, to be completely honest, I've been too busy this week to have actually tried the game yet, so I can't really speak to the bugs that people are finding and having. And
what bugs have you heard of? Because I, like I said, I didn't get a chance to listen to the show here, but I don't remember seeing bugs in the game when I played it back in the old days. So I wonder if I have a different copy from back in the day.
People are saying that there seems to be a game over bug. Something, I don't know what that one is. Oh, it sounds like Retro Rick is saying it sounds like the game glitch happens because the program's jumping to a random address in the game itself and causing the game to just end.
Okay, I'll have to see if I can dig out my original floppy copies that I have from back in the 80s.
An instantaneous game over. I saw a few others on here. I haven't really gone over them too much.
What usually seemed to kill me is if you get in a big pack of them, you keep losing lives.
And you'd usually spawn right in the middle of a pack.
Yeah, well, that's
if
also
they're constantly running over you, you're dying every time you get hit. So yeah,
exactly.
That's a complaint that I did hear, that it's another one of those games that spawns you right on top of bad guys and kills you instantly.
Yeah. Now, 60 in the chat is saying, I do wonder if this is the usual running a tape version of the game from disc stuff, because he played the tape version. He didn't experience any of this stuff. This might be another used ROM L or
Retro Rick did say that it's that instantaneous game over thing has only happened to him once or twice, so it's a very random, not very often bug.
Yeah, if it's trying to execute code and running off in the middle of what's not actually code, that's usually the sign of a tape game that has some hard coded addresses, and then when you offload it to offset it, loading it for disk, if you haven't patched those, it'll jump to some part of memory that has nothing to do with the routine it was supposed to go to.
Also, I think the version that a lot of people are using is the RGB patched version. So maybe somebody screwed it up when they patched it.
That's
for RGB.
Entirely possible too. Yep. Like I said, I'll have to dig out because I didn't have a Coco 3 patch one because when I got the game, the Coco 3 didn't exist. But I do not remember being there major bugs and like the game just quitting on you or anything like that, even on disk. So I'll have to see if my version's a different one than the archive. If it is, if mine works better, I'll have to upload it.
Yeah. Or like you said, maybe it's just should be playing the tape version.
Yep. I mean, that's easy enough to do in the emulators for sure.
Yeah, so basically the idea of the game is that you have to shoot pairs of food. So
yeah, and if you hit another shape in between after shooting the first one, you got to start over with that one or redo the first.
So I know a lot of people that just kind of picked it up and tried to play it, had no idea what was going on in the game, what they were doing.
This is why Nick gets frustrated that people don't read manuals.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Mark B.
What?
Well, you were complaining that in Whacky Food you couldn't figure out you're shooting everything and you weren't getting any points.
Yeah. Was there any instructions that I haven't read yet?
I have no idea.
I don't know if there's on the archive or not, to be honest with that one. But it was based on games in existence already at the time. So when I remember when it came out, I knew what it was.
The arcade game is Wacko, I think, is it's based on.
Yeah, and there was an Atari 2600. It wasn't done by Atari themselves. It was by some third party that was.
I think the Atari one's also called Wacko.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I didn't have these things you guys call quarters.
You were too rich. You already had silver dollars by this point.
No, didn't have arcades either.
Oh, my $100 bill won't go into this arcade machine. What's going on here?
Geez, could you bring up the arcade machine for me, please?
So
yeah, Sicky says it seems pretty obvious what was happening. You shoot one, it kind of stops in its tracks, vibrating. There are two of everything. What do you infer from that?
Well, if you don't take time to actually sit down and think about it, because a lot of games have multiples of the same creatures on, it's just easier to just copy the characteristics.
starting and then just shooting like crazy and hope a score happens.
Yeah.
Now I have to
This
say one
game
thing I
requires
liked about
finesse.
I have to say one thing I liked about this game. I mean, first it got 3 skill levels, so it's nice having skill levels, but it also has a bunch of gameplay options, and it actually makes a bit of difference in the gameplay. Did you guys have one picked out?
Yeah,
we're supposed to play on?
we just
The
playing
default?
on the default one.
Okay, because there's I think like 8 or 9, isn't there? There's like quite a few different options there.
Basically, because when Sloopy chose this last week, he didn't know how to change that. So
Because if I remember, there were some of them that actually changed the gameplay, pretty substantially from the stock, not just like tweaking things, but actually changing the rules a bit.
there we go. Then we can play this game multiple times. I'll just keep choosing it week after week and make it a different.
I don't know. We got 2 new game announcements here today, so you might want to sneak one of those in too.
Yes, I do. Is one of them pinball?
Nope.
Oh, geez, Nick.
No, I talked to Nick. Nick's actually been pretty busy the last 2 weeks. He's added some things. He's right now kind of trying to get the tilt nudging mechanism a bit more realistic.
Nuanced?
Yeah. And he's got one problem too, where it's too easy to get the gap in the middle compared to a regular pinball game. So he's doing some tweaks there too. He also has added a composite video mode, which I will be testing after the show today, just to send him a screenshot what it looks like on a real composite. Because Nick, he hates composite, so he wants to see what it looks like on real hardware. And then he's going to get Buck Owens to do some hardcore testing, so you know it'll be thoroughly tested.
You should send a copy to Dr. Ted.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd be on the show today to actually kind of give a brief update and then get some other beta testers here, because he's getting pretty close to getting to the point where he's going to be getting some expanded beta testing, not just Buck. Buck's really good at finding bugs. He'll play a game to ad nauseum until he's found every stupid little bug you would never think of looking for. So he says he could test it next roar. I think he needs a copy too.
All right. Yeah, so those are the games that we played last week. We're going to be playing Whacky Foods for another week, and we'll see if we can't. I'm going to try and see if I have time to compare the disc version and the tape version to see if maybe that's the problem that people are running into.
Okay. And I'll see if I can find my original floppy version from the 80s.
Yeah. Got a stupid fly. Keeps flying into my face here. Okay, so let's take a look at our live show from Thursday night, if I can find where I have that.
Oh, that beautiful Game On challenge footage.
Where did it go? Did I accidentally close that tab? There we go. Okay, so as you can see, we had up to 7 players.
Oh, that's good.
And I think, as usual, I think it was Coconut Bob got sick of the games pretty quickly and moved over to playing some other stuff.
That's pretty normal for him.
As you can see, Mark O did play the game, or was there playing games, but didn't put in a Snake Pit score. So
yeah, I think I got 800.
I'm so very disappointed in him.
Sorry. Hey, at least I showed up. You can't help me for that. I showed up.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun playing the games there. So I don't know what else there is to be said there because Sloopy's not here to talk about it. So I will just say that is Thursday nights in the Game On Challenge Discord channel, the live channel. If you want to show up and play or just show up and join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. That's absolutely.
Yeah, if you can only watch and chat, you can join in the chat on both Twitch and on YouTube because it's live streamed.
So it's Thursday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern, and 5 Pacific. So we expect expect to see everybody there.
Yeah, I couldn't make it, but at least I submitted a score this time. I didn't forget.
Yeah, and I beat you. Yay.
Yeah, you did.
Barely, but I did.
Kicked my ass.
Yeah, play 50 points. Yeah, so how about we take a look at what our next game is for the next 2 weeks. So we'll be playing Whacky Food, and we will also be playing this game right here, and who other than Curtis knows this game?
You know, I don't remember it either.
Aliens, spaceships, very blocky. What? P-mode 4?
It's nice,
I remember
big,
playing the game, but I don't remember what it's called.
nice big chunky graphics. I love that kind of game.
It's like P mode 2 with artifacting, kind of like a double back or something. Not P mode 4, but I can't remember the name of the damn thing. No, I'm blanking. You got me stumped too this time. I'm not going to cheat and hunt through my site quick. By the way, micro hobbyist Frederick is saying in the chat, you say he really needs to get a joystick.
Yes, he does.
The game is Komet Kaze.
Right.
From 1983. So one of the interesting things about this game is, just a second here, I'm just going to switch back to the screen. You're obviously like the space shuttle looking ship there, but you only fire about the length of your ship in front of you. And depending on which way you have the joystick facing, you either fire straight up, 45 degrees to the right, or 45 degrees to the left. So.
Right. Yeah. Now I remember this. This is by Color Quest, which is the games division of Softlaw, the guys who did VIP library and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it's not, you got to kind of pick it what you want to shoot at, and you got to be facing your joystick in the right direction. And then there's also comets that come onto the screen that will track you. So the aliens just come straight down, but then the comets will move around the screen, tracking you wherever you move to. So.
Okay, I seem to recall, if I remember, this was a pretty challenging one.
Yeah,
Because
well,
of the
especially
controls.
it's not just that it's the controls. I think it's that it's you really have to change your mindset on how you're shooting. Because
because most people are used to, like, if you're shooting from a position on the screen, it's going to go straight up or straight left or straight right.
So if you're moving yourself underneath an alien to shoot at it, and you have your joystick to the right, and you get underneath it and you fire, you're not going to hit it because you're going to shoot 45 degrees off to the right.
Right. Yeah, you almost need two joysticks or something, or you have proper controls for that. But that would have been kind of awkward to play that way. So.
Yeah, actually, it's not that hard to get used to, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. I mean, I played it for, 10, 15 minutes last night, and by the time I played it for 15 minutes, I kind of got used to the wrapping my head around if I'm moving towards an alien, fire before I get to him, because I'm going to shoot in that direction. So
cool. That's a good pick, because that's kind of when Softlaw / Color Quest, like this is back when they were doing the big ads in Rainbow, like 2 pages spread of all the games that Color Quest did at the time. And then they had separate full double page ads for VIP library and stuff like that. This was like at the heyday in '83 when like Rainbow was 300 plus pages that this came out. But Color Quest kind of disappeared within a year of that. So it was kind of like the last heyday. They brought a few new games like Zygoid and Komet Kaze, and there's 1 or 2 that they actually came out with that we haven't been able to find, like Liberator, I think is one of them, or something like that, they had huge ads for it, and that's ones that are lost in the archive. So if any of you CoCoists out there have that particular game or any other games that are not on the archive, not on my site at all, check the archive first, because I'm way behind them. But there's some missing games there, and some of these were written, I think were pretty good classic games that we just never got pirated. Enough around here for us to have backups.
Off-site backups. That's not pirating. It's off-site backups.
Yeah. And right now they're lost forever unless they can be found again. We've had a few in the last few years. We've found some, recovered some, but there's still quite a few pretty major titles that are missing.
if you're going to do that, make sure you don't live in Italy, and make sure that the Italian government doesn't find out about it.
Oh, what happened in Italy?
Oh, because there's a YouTuber that is facing up to 3 years in jail for doing videos about pirated games on handhelds. Like,
oh,
those
okay.
like 301 cartridges you get. He did some videos about those, and now he's facing up to, I think, a 25,000 euro fine and 3 years in jail.
Oh, geez. He
Holy
didn't write
crap.
him or anything. He just did a video about it, right?
Yep.
Holy crap.
And it's not revealed what company has pushed the government into that, Nintendo, but there's a few guesses.
Yeah, I mean, there's not any other options besides Disney.
You know. Wow.
Anyway, so that's it for that. So
Anyway, definitely check it out. Join live Thursday if you can, live on the Discord to actually become part of the show, or live on Twitch and YouTube too. Leave sarcastic comments to all the players.
yeah, because there's nothing about our gameplay that can be made fun of, really. So
No.
I challenge you to show up and try and find
I
something.
challenge you to
make fun
find a
of us.
flaw on any of the game players in that panel, especially Ken and Mark. They're just
Exactly.
expert wizard game players.
Or if you
I'm
really
waiting
want
for
to
Mark's response.
if you really want to see Curtis have a meltdown, show up on one of the days where his joystick's not working properly.
I had that problem when I was playing last night to do my thing. The red button here keeps not registering. It just quit for like literally 10 hits, and all of a sudden it would start working again. So the switch must be going. So, Rick Ewan, do you still have any deluxe joysticks for sale? I might have to buy one.
Indeed, we do.
Okay, I will. As soon as my checks start coming in here, might have to order one, because I'm down to like I think one semi-functioning deluxe of the 3 or 4 I have. I should probably bring some of the Fest to get repaired. Like if some of the plastic molding, like around the button here, actually broke off, so now the thing's just floating around loose. So I'm sure you can probably 3D print some weird.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a high stress situation, and unless you're
maybe we should get one made of metal so that this never happens again.
Well, that's the thing. Once it gets old and brittle, then you're kind of done. You know.
Now, would a 3D printed one handle that kind of hammering on? Especially when I get mad at a game and huck the joystick across the room and hit the wall.
That's the thing. I mean, even an ABS print has a shear line in it where it wants to break.
Yeah,
And
but
so
you
you
can print
have to
another
be-
one.
Yeah, just
right.
send me a
Print
sleeve.
symbol, just
Smash print.
Yeah.
Luckily, when you wrap a joystick in shrink wrap, like they packaged it, the plastic doesn't get old. Whatever the solvents are, the shrink wrap doesn't let them come out. So
Yeah, mine
it's
are
really
not from that.
strange.
Mine are just from being wear and tear, because I played a lot of games, and you kind of get physically involved with the game in certain games.
Well, and
where-
they're 40 years old and they get brittle, and
yeah.
Well,
things
Curtis,
just break.
I think right now I've got 17 Black Beauties.
Oh,
There
I
you
forgot about the
go.
Black Beauties. Actually, some of those games, like Snake, probably would have worked okay with the Black Beauty.
Yep.
They got nothing to break. Yeah.
Well, a few of them have bent sticks, but
Right, but nothing
so
to really
you're
break.
you're playing at an angle to keep it centered.
That might be a good, like you got a 3D printer there, Rick. It might be a good thing to do support stuff. Like some of the switches on the bottom of Deluxe, like these, sometimes break.
Oh, those things are impossible. I tried.
Oh, you did? Okay. And then the
you
little
know-
surrounding part that holds the buttons here for either of the 2 buttons, that's I've broken on twice now on 2 different joysticks.
I mean, those
'Cause
things.
when you mash it really hard, it just snaps, especially when it gets older, like you're saying.
Yeah, I need an aluminum printer. That would fix it.
Yeah. Fix it once and for all. Cool.
just
Well,
get-
thank
get
you,
a-
Ken. That was a good pick. I'm going to like to see what the reaction are to the steering of the bullets. What most people are going to think about that. Komet Kaze.
Yeah.
Is Kevin Holloway already put up a screenshot of that, or is that from my site? Is he already playing it?
Let's see.
Born troublemaker, I tell you.
Nope, he's playing it.
Well, if he wants to pop back on and just give us a quick preview of what he thinks of the controls for the firing, because it's pretty unique. I don't know too many Coco games that did that, especially when you're sharing the joystick between the aiming and firing and moving your ship around. That definitely would take a bit of time to get used to.
He's got some pretty decent scores on there so far too. So.
Oh, that's KKH. Is he putting in there?
Yep.
It's kind of small on my thumbnail. I thought he was typing in Ken to be sarcastic.
Kevin something Holloway.
Keith.
Kirk. I'm gonna guess Kirk.
Actually, it's Keith.
Oh, okay. I was close.
So is it Kevin Keith or Keith Kevin? Inquiring minds want to know.
Joel Evie in the chat is saying you can do investment casting in aluminum from a plastic 3D print, which I don't quite understand what that means.
Lost PLA casting, right?
Or just get a
So
laser
what exactly
cutter
is that?
So you print it in plastic on your 3D printer, and then you stick it in that refractory sand stuff that you melt, that you make metal molds in, right? And then you heat it up, the PLA melts out of it, and then you pour metal in the top, and you've got your part.
So you make a positive, and then you make a negative, and then you make another positive.
So instead of lost wax, it's actually lost PLA from a 3D printer.
Yeah, just get a laser cutter and cut them out of solid blocks of aluminum.
If I could afford that kind of laser, you bet your booty I'd have a new job.
Yeah. That'd be pretty expensive, especially with 50% tariffs on aluminum from across the entire planet.
Crowdfund it.
That's all right. We can melt down some cans. We're good.
We need to fix the Coco joysticks. We need to crowdfund a laser cutter.
Yeah, there we go. That'd be a great investment for Glenside. Cool. Well, I think I'll segue straight from that into the Game On news. And then after that, we'll do the upcoming shows. And the first one I'll be covering here is actually one I missed last. I don't know how the hell I missed it. Oh, welcome, Nick, by the way.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, you have been watching the show.
So you can start now.
All right, from the top, boys and girls.
That's it.
Okay, so a little bit of catch up this week. So sibling rivalry on the My Drunk Sibling channel, which of course is Tim and AJ, a sister and brother team that play either competitive games or try to beat each other up in games, or very occasionally do cooperative games. For their Independence Day USA, they actually played a Coco game, which I'm sure some of you recognize. It's a Coco 3 one. Lunar Lander by Jeff Dons. That one is on my website. It is written in BASIC, if I remember correctly, and it's actually pretty well done. The graphics, the guy took time to draw ships at different angles and stuff. Even took time to draw the different thrust flames with different colors and different lengths of the rocket fuel shooting out the back type thing. So it actually looks pretty good.
Video games.
You can see an example of it here, and he actually preserves the background.
There is in this one a lot of death in this one.
Oh, death is certain. And
So it's basically a standard Lunar Lander game. I think levels, but it's really darn hard to do it because you have to land just about perfectly. You can't have any horizontal movement. You got to be, thrusted enough that you're going very slowly when you land. And of course, you got to land completely within the platform. If even one leg is sticking slightly out, you die. So I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler. You should watch it because it's fun to watch these two interact. But the spoiler is that they never make a successful landing. And I've only done it a few times myself in this game. It's one of the harder Lunar Landers to play. And for those of you who have not been watching Tim and AJ for a while, you'll notice Tim has cut his hair pretty drastically from the last time we saw him. He's gone away from the hippie thing and looking a bit more sophisticated and debonair, I believe. Anyway, the nice drawn backgrounds. He's got kind of like the mountain ranges here. Here we have to try to land on. But you get a nice picture of a Saturn-like planet here. You've got some stars that have some blue emphasis. Here's your fuel gauge. Landing site 1, like I said, there's multiple screens. You get kind of your rating, but I'll just show a little bit of the gameplay here. And for those of you who've not seen this game before.
She's headed for the pad, people.
You can see like the thrust actually
Makes
changes
their
and
lateral
glow and how bright red
velocity
or yellow it is.
Still coming down fast and to the side.
Missed.
And then boom.
Oh.
That is actually the best I've done since we started practice.
She's making strides, people. You need to for a bit by firing laterally. She's coming in.
Have
She's
any of
got
you
a
on the
good
panel ever tried this
vector,
one? It came out in 88 or 89, I think. I
Too
can
fast
check my
and
site.
too sideways.
And boom.
I was trying something different.
She was.
Or even on the panel here, how many of you old timers have actually played the Lunar Landers? Because some of the original ones are all text based, like from the basic adventure games by David All of Creative Computing, where you had to like punch in thrust at 300, and then you'd have a still text report of how much fuel you consumed, what angle you're going, what speed.
Right, horizontal speed, vertical speed. I remember those. This one's cool. I like it already. I just never saw it before.
Yeah, I think this was a CompuServe download, if I remember correctly. I think that's where I got it from. But yeah, the graphics were very well done. I don't know if he used like Color Max 3 or Color Max 3 Deluxe or Coco Max 3 to do some of the background graphics, but I was impressed with it. He read the ships at multiple angles, and like I said, the flames, go from a very small dark red all the way to a major thrust, which has like yellow and white and bright red and stuff here. So he took his time to draw it to look good. Michael's wife will say in the chat saying, yeah, he can't make a good landing in this one either. There's some simpler ones like Greg Zumwalt had one. The author Chris Latham, who did Donkey King and Sailorman, also had one that Tom Mix sold for a while. Moonlander, I think it was called. And those are much easier. I can actually land those occasionally. And there's one under OS9 in 640 by 192 4 color mode that actually I've been able to successfully land multiple times. But this one's pretty unforgiving from what I remember and from what, watching them. They came close, I think, a few times. But if anybody ever can get a proper landing on this, I'd love to see it. Please record the video. Anyway, my apologies to Tim and AJ for missing this one last week. After that, this is the first of 2 new game announcements here. So Paul Shoemaker put some teaser videos up on the Coco Discord of a game called Paku Paku, which is actually a modern game, which is kind of like a hyper-simplified Pac-Man style thing. And he's made versions for the MC10 and for the Coco. And they're already up on his itch.io page. You can download them for free there right now. So I will have the show link, of course, in the show notes. But we've got both videos here. I've got for both of them, and since they're only about a minute long, I'll play each of them. So basically, for those of you who can't see the screen here, you've got the simplest Pac-Man maze possible. You have a straight tunnel, and it wraps around for the player, but not for the ghost. And that's it. So you eat dots for points. You've got 1 power pellet that will show up, and once you eat it, you have a time to eat the ghost, which of course will flee and change color. You can wrap around the screen, so you can kind of lead the ghost away from the power pellet if it appears on the opposite side of the screen, and wrap around or lure the ghost way to one side and then cause it to wrap around, but give you enough time to kill it. So it's one of these ones where it has one control. You hit the button to change direction. So if you're going left, you change to right, and if you're going right, you change left. It's kind of like a lot of the other games that he does. Paul does a lot of these casual games like Ghost Rush and stuff that we've seen are like the same thing, where basically you have a single button control. So super easy to learn, super hard to master. That's kind of the mantra. But this is an. But this is an. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I swear to God, I'm going to make a joystick that just has a fire button. Nothing else. Just for this man.
Super compact. Approved for all Paul Shoemaker games. But yeah, this is basically based on a game originally by Kenta Cho of ABA Games, which I believe are for like smartphones and stuff. So it's a casual game that you can quickly play in a supermarket or somewhere while you're waiting in line for your groceries. And yeah, he's got videos of both the Coco, and he's made this for Coco 1, 2, and 3. So it's in P mode 3. On the MC10, it's in P mode 1, because as we talked at the beginning of the show, you only had 4K of RAM that you could access video from, and that mode it only takes 3K, so it's one of the ones that works. But I'll play them here. You'll be able to hear the difference probably more than anything, because the Coco version has multi-voice music, which you will recognize from Pac-Man if you've ever played the Pac-Man arcade original. And on the MC10, of course, it is using a 1-bit sound because that's the only sound it had. So it's a bit scratchier, etc. But it's still very recognizable. So I'll play the 2 here. There's the instructions, the entire instruction manual. Button turn. Mark will have a nice day when Ken picks this one. But basically, as soon as the Pac-Man wraps to the other side, the ghost will switch direction to chase him, because it can only chase him without wrap around, so it always chases to the direction it can see Pac-Man in. And every time you finish all the dots, you get a refresh of the dots and a randomly placed power pill, which makes for interesting gameplay.
Yeah, that's my kind of game.
Yeah, your kind of instruction read, too. It's 2 words.
Push button.
Yep. Or button turn, I think it said. And there you go. So let's take a look and listen to the MC10 version.
If you're going the wrong direction, push button again.
Yep.
Rinse and repeat.
Bit scratchier, but he actually got the multi-voice kind of out of it, so.
All right.
And you notice here the ghosts go in the same speed as the pack guy, except when the power pellet's eaten. If you notice in the Coco version, as you progress, it starts going faster.
Right. You got some gameplay out of this. That's amazing.
Yeah, like you look at the concept, you're going, this can't possibly be a game. It's like a little demo. But actually,
watch the video. Well, yeah, this is a game. Yeah.
Yeah. And kudos to the original author for coming up for a concept like this, where you're taking Pac-Man, reducing it to like 1 row. And it actually is a proper game with some difficulty, especially when the ghosts start going faster. Like there you can see it's starting to catch up. It's running faster than the Pac-Man when it's no power pellet eaten. But anyway, yeah, this on the Coco, it'll require, I think, 16, maybe 32K RAM. Well, actually, it'll tell me on the HIO page. Why don't I just check there, you idiot? So you can see a link. If, of course, if you're on HIO or if you're on the Coco Discord, you can actually get the direct link here. But here's his description. Well, actually, no, this is the vintages of the new old here, where he's actually got a little bit of a write-up here by somebody. Now, one thing I don't understand is why it's posted in ZX Spectrum, because what the hell does this have to do with the ZX Spectrum? But you can see it here. So there we go. So 6809 or 6803 is semi-language, depending on whether you're getting the MC10 version. The MC10 version, of course, is a cassette image, the C10, which is pretty standard. And the disc image for the Coco is just a standard disc image, so that'll work with the Coco STC and any of the emulators.
Doesn't say how much RAM.
Yeah, I think it's 32K. I think mainly because of the music part took a bit. And I don't know if he's double buffering on the Coco version. The MC10 version does require the 16K RAM expansion pack or higher, like if you have an MCX or something. But the MCX 32SD or the MCX 128 or the 16K RAM expansion will work with all of those.
Is there more under the more information tag?
Could be. Not of any use, though.
No.
But anyway, yeah, it looks like a nice casual game. So, Ken, there's another suggestion for the future. And we've done pretty good, I think, when we've had game on challenges with some of Paul's other casual games. So every once in a while, he brings out something like poker that isn't really a game on challenge style game, but this definitely would be one. Because it does get progressively harder and harder as the ghosts start going faster and faster. You have less time to try to wrap the screen to lure it away from a power pellet. Then we got some gameplay reviews and high score submissions, etc. So first off, we have YouTuber Attempts, a gaming channel by LRU, who did a couple of high score attempt videos here based on Dragon and Coco stuff. So the first one here is Screaming Abdabs with a score of 3210. Screaming Abdabs is definitely based on some other games that both the Dragon and the Spectrum were quite famous for, like Manic Miner. So basically, it's a black and white 256 by 192 with lots of moving platforms and animated things that you have to jump over and dodge, and you have to pick up the keys and stuff like that. And there's multiple screens with different maps that you have to go through.
I remember this one. You fall through the floating crossbows, golden crossbows, you die.
Yeah, did we play this one on the our Game on Challenge?
I'm pretty sure we played on the Game on Challenge.
Yeah, I know there's a couple games similar to this, so couldn't remember whether or not this particular one we played or not.
It's the name Abdabs that I remember.
Yeah. And then the second one he submitted here is actually a game we covered on the Game On Challenge, I don't think too long ago, if I remember. Wasn't UGG a recent one? I don't know if Ken's around to answer that or not, but I think we did this one recently.
It had to be recent because I remember it. So
It could be a couple of years ago.
It was
I
about 6 months ago.
6 months? Okay.
Okay. So for those who have not caught that particular Game On Challenge, I'll skip the intro screen because that noise is annoying. But basically, you have to go gather these, I think it's food, bring it back to your cave. You also get spears you can throw at the dinosaurs that are wanting the track, but you got a pterodactyl that's trying to drop stuff on you as well. I remember this because when we played the Game On Challenge, I completely forgot you could pick up spears and throw them, so I was just trying to dodge all the time.
There are pterodactyl eggs at the top of the screen.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the game's much easier when you have a spear. So don't make the mistake I did. Anyway, this one he actually got up to the fourth screen with 37,875 points, which I don't remember from the Game On Challenge, but I think that's actually a pretty decent score. Next up, Marlin Lee. We talked about him last week because he's the guy who kind of started doing Coco gameplay videos on YouTube like 20 years ago before anybody else did. And then he kind of disappeared once before, and then we disappeared the last few years. Haven't seen anything from him. And all of a sudden he came out with like 5 or 6 videos last week and another chunk of another 4 or 5 this week. And some of them are actually ones that we've covered recently as well on the Game On Challenge as well too. The first one here is Planet Raider by Aardvark Software, which I think was one we did probably within the last 6 to 12 months too, which is kind of a, I'll skip the intro here.
Hey guys.
But basically it's kind of a Defender clone, and as Marlon points out, it's got some elements of Scramble or Super Cobra in it as well, because there's more targets to hit on the mountains as opposed to just picking up and rescuing humans.
The first system that they programmed for was the OSI, the High Scientific Instruments Computer.
And there we get another mention of OSI, which our guest earlier on the show also grew up with, so kind of cool. Anyway, so you did that one. Then you did Coco Croaker. Now, I don't think we've covered this one on the Game On Challenge. I'm not positive. But this one was kind of unique because it's a machine language game based on Frogger, obviously, if you're looking at the screenshot here. But the difference is that this was actually a type-in game from Hot Coco magazine. So it's one of the better type-ins. It's a little difficult for I remember.
Hey guys, today we've got Croaker, obviously a Frogger clone.
And if I remember correctly, this is spread over multiple issues of Hot Coco before it got done.
Coco magazine. The source code and comments of the offer was published from June to November of 1984.
I know Nick, being a graphics purist, is just going to love the color set here that you've got magenta water.
Well, hang on, I've got to pick up the vomit off the floor.
So yeah, that's a cool one because out of the echelon of best type-in games, I would say this is one of the better ones. There's a few from Rainbow, a couple we played in the Game On Challenge before a few years back.
Not just as a type-in game, but this was actually like a 6-month assembly language tutorial.
Correct.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, good type-in game, not good to type-in game.
Yeah, because he had actually commented source and everything else too, which and you wouldn't normally type in. I think he also had the basic data statement version of it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it kind of teaching you like how do you do animated graphics, how do you do multi-voice sound, that kind of stuff.
And I was always bummed because I only got the first 5 months of it.
All right.
Oh, that would suck.
Yeah. Well, in all these games that they gave you the data statements, but you never got the actual source. So even if you had EdTasm, you couldn't type it in.
Yeah, and you didn't really learn how the game worked because it's just a bunch of data statements, right? But this one actually was like Bob mentioned, was a tutorial where they actually gave the commented sources they went.
Yeah,
I would definitely change the color set though.
I literally subscribed to Hot Coco when that was going on, and literally the 6th month they switched me to a different subscription.
Oh, really?
and no local stores carried it really, or I didn't find one in time, I guess. So
What do they
yeah.
switch you to?
Probably
80 micro or
personal
something?
computing or something stupid.
Well, if they switch you, that means they went out of business.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's like the last people to subscribe were the first ones to lose their subscriptions, and they would fill the subscriptions for the long-time subscribers, I guess, when they had limited copies available. Same thing with Rainbow. I subscribed to that, and then they cut me off right around the baseball cover. Was like the last one I got.
Well, you can get copies of the last ones now.
Yeah, well, I got some now. I got
Now.
almost a full set.
Yeah, because I subscribed to Rainbow from I think late '83 right till the very end, and I never had any of those problems.
I got Croaker now too, and I played it, and it's actually not a bad version of Frogger.
Yeah, the only caveat for me was that they could have picked the other color mode. It's much closer to what the arcade was, but other than that, yeah.
Oh yeah, but on an analog TV, you have tint and intensity knobs, so you can.
Oh yeah,
you can customize.
You can make whatever color you want.
Change the tint, cut it down a little so it's not so searing, and yeah.
I'm sure that's what Nick would prefer with all of his games too. Just adjust your color and tint controls.
We've got a similar button. It's called off. Oh look! Finally, that black background I was looking for.
A white highway every now and then might look cool.
Well, that's up here in winter, right?
Right.
For the color set, he's actually picked a good choice of the colors.
Yeah, just not the right color set.
Yeah, it would have been better in
not
the
for
other
Frogger
one.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, but he did a good job, really. But yeah.
Maybe the guy knew James Garon from Datasoft, because Steve always complained because he always used the pastel color set like for Puyan.
Yeah.
When the other set would have been perfect, it would have been almost identical to the arcade. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if we've played the one in the Game On Challenge. If we haven't, it might be a good one to go through and maybe actually talk a little bit about the development side of it during the Game On Summary. Just, pick out a couple pieces from the Hot Coco articles, just kind of to show, somebody actually explaining how to write an arcade game for the Coco and machine language.
I think Ken said he's really keen to get back into Frogger.
Yeah, because he had so much fun, the Mega Frogger episode.
That's right.
Fun being an
that's
acronym
the
for
one
something
he
I can't
needs to make
repeat.
Work.
Oh, go ahead.
Right, do that with the electronic book.
Yeah. Well, he said to watch his channel. I know he released a video this week, which I didn't get a chance to watch. I don't even know if it was Coco related or not. So if I missed it completely, Ken, let me know and we'll actually cover it here before we finish the show.
It was not Coco related.
Oh, okay. No, then I don't care. No, I'm just kidding.
That's the spirit.
And then Marlin continued onward. So he also did what he called 1942 all over again, which is Fighter Pilot. That one we definitely have played. This was a Dave Dye's written kind of a loose clone of 1942 for Seguera Software, but done a year before he started
Hey
Icon.
guys, today we have Fighter Pilot.
And this one also offered keyboard or joystick controls.
Written by Dave Dicom Products.
But I'm pretty sure we've covered this one, have we
Quite a
not?
few games through there, good games.
I know Tim and AJ covered it, and I think they covered it after they saw it in our show.
I've never played 1942, so I can't judge it as
This one definitely has some good potential for the double speed poking at Coco 3 too.
Yeah, no, it's a little sluggish.
Of all of the games that I've played,
And then a second last one he did was Sea Dragon, one of my personal favorites, which is kind of a Super Copa style game taking place underwater. This is one of those oddballs where Vendor International made multiple versions for multiple platforms. In this case here, it's available for the TRS Model 1.3, the Apple II, the Atari 8-bit, and they're not identical. Like, they don't even try to be identical. Like, there's quite a few differences between them. Like, the Apple II version has this weird green dragon thing at the end. On the Coco version, it's a nuclear reactor. And the maps are a little bit different in spots and stuff like that. So this is where, along with Rearguard and a few others, some of the games quite differently from each other between the different platforms. But this was always a favorite of mine. It had some nice speech. It had some nice 4-voice music, little intros.
As today we have Sea Dragon from Adventure International, company that I'm not really familiar with. Look through the ads, and there's one or two games that
Make
they
a
have
game.
that,
It's a submarine, there's water, and the rest is up to
knew
you.
existed, but I wasn't really.
And it had different skill levels, which basically adjusts the speed of the entire game. So most people play in the lower ones, like 0 to 2, maybe 3. I'm guessing he's doing probably about a 2 or 3 here because this is a little bit faster than the slowest one. But in 7, it's a full speed side scroller. And actually, if I'm playing on keyboard controls, I actually do better on level 7 usually. So that's usually what I play it as. But the if you don't shut the music off, you will miss most of the outro when you blow up the reactor. So I would recommend, until you've at least won the game once, turn the music on. You will get the little Popeye theme or whatever at the beginning for the first few bars every time you die. But I think the sequence when you blow up the reactor, because if you don't have the music on, the reactor just blows up and you're done. If you leave it on, you actually get the flag raised on the sub, and it plays some music, and it gives you some text to read while it's going through the hole in the mountain that you blew out with the reactor type thing. So it actually adds a whole little outro that you don't see at all if you have the music turned off. So if you have not seen that, I would definitely leave it on until you at least win the game once. And the last one he covered was Shooting Gallery. And of course, this is a Radio Shack cartridge, also put up by Datasoft.
Maple Leaf Rag.
And this is one of the ones that Tandy did that has the best use of artifact colors I've seen, because they're not going for the straight 4 basic colors. They're doing all the subtle shades here, the purples, the yellows, etc. So it's quite a colorful game for the Coco 1 or 2 if you're on NTSC. It just looks like absolute crap, I'm presuming, on the PAL ones. Right, Nick?
Yep.
Arcade game Carnival, which came out.
And now that the emulators are actually emulating some of these more subtle shades that we used to see on the TVs, or even composite if you had composite mods, it's quite nice to see what they actually look like.
You can see a yellow and an orange up there.
Yeah.
A dark blue and a light blue. And,
have any way for this game to give you realized
Yeah, it's quite well done. I mean, it's a clone of an arcade game that had been out for several years before the Coco even came out, so it's a bit of an older game, but it's still a bit of fun. And then you got the bear, whatever they call it, that goes running back and forth in between levels where you have to try to shoot it and reverse its direction. It keeps speeding up, so you try to do as many times as you can for bonus points.
Yeah, it's a pretty good version.
Spinning target in the middle, and you don't have the.
After that, we got Jim Gary, who comes by for a couple of games too that he's ported over. So the first one is called Family, and it's more of a simulation, I think, than a game per se. But basically, it kind of teaches you a little bit about genetics and genetic inheritance, which is basically if you take genes of the father, genes of the mother, which one is the dominant one will control your eye color, and a bunch of other things. So that's basically what this is doing. And it's written by Andy Gamble in June 1981 from Columbia College in Vancouver. And Jim has been doing quite a few there where he's been trying to pluck obscure programs from Canadians back in the day. And I'll skip the directions here because it's just talking about genetic stuff. But here's actually like choosing genes for the mother's eyes, and and it kind of shows you the genetic structure and what color, this kind of simulating a face with eyes and nose, etc. And here's your gene sequence with the the 4 proteins that they're using. So almost an educational thing. I think it is somewhat educational. And the other one is called Checkers Run 2, Unknown Author. So that's a bit different for Jim. So basically, this was originally for the tier setting model of 1, but it was released on a BBS, and somebody recovered it off of a BBS backup at some point and put it back, but nobody knows who wrote it, when exactly it came out, what country it came from, nothing. It was anonymously loaded up to a BBS back in the early 80s, and it was rescued before it disappeared forever. And Jim notes that this checkers game, which is basically what it is, may be a bit buggy, especially at the end. So I haven't played it to actually test that, but you can see like it just cleared out and redrew this particular one, and then you get your from and to as you're actually specifying your moves. Next up, we have Expert Tech, who returns to do another one of his Coco games on an Amber monitor from real floppies on his real Coco 2. In this case, he's playing Pirate. Now, last week he covered one of the other ones. There was a game cassette from Tandy that actually had 6 basic games by Datasoft by James Grant of card games. And I think it covered, I can't remember, Blackjack, I think, last time. And now he's covering Pirate. So for those of you who haven't seen it, and you'll see it here in all of the amber glory.
The card at the end is the one who loses.
If I remember, this was a fairly simple game, more meant for younger kids. But, you know, for a basic game, doesn't play too bad speed-wise. I do like the animation of the cards syncing off.
There it goes, removing the duplicates.
But basically, that's the game. And if you got the card games back, I think you ended up with 6 card games in one package for 20 bucks. Next up after that, this is a brand new game that got released on the Coco Discord by a user called Paranoid Cactus. And if any of you know who the heck that is in real life, please let me know, because I'd like to give them proper credit. But for now, that's all I got. But it's a game called Spooks, and it's a Halloween-themed game. You can tell here by looking at the screenshot. There's a ghost here. There's the candies you got to collect. There's pumpkins riding around. You're this character over here. Now, this is a very well-done game. I don't know if this is his first assembly language project for the Coco. If it is, I'm very impressed, because it's buttery smooth. You've got regular candy you just jump and get. You get other candy that kind of is like shimmering between colors, and if you collect it, another one randomly changes to a shimmering one of colors. There's multiple levels. It kind of gives you a bit of a vibe of a Lode Runner style game, but there's definitely some extra gameplay that's not here. And thankfully, he actually uploaded an entire little video here to show some of the gameplay, including sound. If you guys want to actually try it, the disc image he's uploaded as well to the Coco Discord is in the general game Discord channel. And Coco 1 or 2 or 3, it's artifact colors, so you will want to play in composite if you're playing on a Coco 3, if you possibly can. And free download there as well. This is one, Ken, I was going to talk to you about this, just get what your take is on this, but because it's a Halloween themed game, I'm thinking maybe we should wait closer to Halloween, even though it's a brand new release here in July. And it's one I'm going to suggest to the amigos, because every time they come up with one of their themed ones for Halloween or Christmas, the Coco doesn't have a ton of games that were holiday specific, but this will be a brand new Halloween themed game for them, because they've already covered stuff like Fangman and a few of the others. So this would be kind of cool for them to show off.
Is it finished yet? I thought he's still adding to it. Like this isn't.
Might be. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to fully go through the thread. I don't know if anybody else here on the panel has.
Yeah, I read something that it's not quite complete yet, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. Anyway, for those of you who have not seen it here, I will actually play the video and you can see what it looks like. But the animations are buttery smooth. Like, you did a really good job. And for the audio listeners here, he's just running around between ladders. He's jumping up and collecting candies. He's getting the special candy that shimmers and then causes another one to go. He's dodging bats, ghosts, moving pumpkins, a bonus timer.
Yeah, he's got it very well done, actually.
Well, that's high praise coming from Dick.
Paranoid Cactus's introduction on 6th of July, 2025 says, "My name is Simon."
Okay. Is he North American, do you know, or European? Or?
Not sure.
It'd be interesting to know.
I know we don't ask that question, but just in case he volunteered it.
Interesting to know if he's done any other games, because
just says started with the Coco one when he was a kid, kicked off a lifelong obsession with game development. Got back to the Coco a few years ago and have been playing around with making games for it. Been watching the CoCoNation on YouTube for quite a while now, so just figured as well and truly time to join the Discord.
Cool. I'm really curious, like Nick said, if he's done any other games, because this is pretty advanced. If this was his first ever assembly language game project,
very
I'm
well
pretty darn
done.
impressed. Yeah.
The animation's well done. The layout, the presentation, everything's very good.
Even the font's really nice. It's a nice short
very
font, so it's
tidy.
quick to render, but it's bolded up a bit, so it's really easy to see even with artifacts.
Well done artifacted colors too.
Yeah. And that's praise from Nick, because he hates artifacting.
Never done an artifacted game.
Well, maybe that should be your next project. You can join what we were all doing in North America this whole time.
What have I been missing all those years?
Yeah. So anyway, cool. You can actually download the current, I don't know if it's a beta at this point, but it is playable. And it's on the Coco Discord in the general games section. And feel free to download it. There's also the video preview if you want to rewatch it there as well. And the last one is a by PW32X. And I don't know who that is either. But basically, he's been working on a port of Downland to run on the 3DO. So this is another taking a Coco classic game and converting it to running on more modern anyway, hardware of gaming consoles, kind of like the Nintendo DS one we were looking at earlier. Now, this one is also not finished yet. He said the player still needs a squash animation and the regenerative effect from Downland. Still need to display the HUD text and lives icons. And he encountered a bug he's been trying to track for a while now, touch treasure and die bug. That sounds horrible. But at any rate, if you want to see what Downland looks like, and I think we showed a version of this a couple weeks ago that wasn't quite as far advanced. But you can actually see that here. So this one you can't download yet, but if you have a 3DO, you might have a version of the classic Coco game.
3DO. Which one's that? Is that the Panasonic?
I'm trying to remember now.
The one by the Electronic Arts guy. 3DO. Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Actually, that says 4DO on the emulator screen.
Oh, I wonder if they just mean like it's a next gen emulator, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's got the mechanics down pretty damn good. This is pretty close. It looks and feels like Downland, though I do remember the res is a little lower here, so we had to kind of adjust and scale stuff.
Yeah, this might be some other platform.
Like there, the transition is much quicker than it is on the original Coco when you're going between the caves.
Oh,
And none of the, just number of free men left and score and that is not on the screen yet.
I mean, you got stuff like catching on the wall so you can bounce back off the wall and stuff.
Yep, that works in the real game too. So he's definitely got some of the subtle nuances
he's
there.
On it, yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. There's a couple cross-platform bits where you can start playing Coco stuff. Like we talked about the Nintendo DS emulator getting an update this time. The Downland for the 3DO is getting an update. We got 2 brand new game releases. Spooks may not be complete, but it's available for upload and you to try. And of course, Paul has officially released both the MC10 and Coco versions of Paku Paku. And that's it for the Game On news this week. So I'll go through a quick rundown of upcoming shows. Oh, I probably have to share the screen too. Okay, so the first one coming up now that Boatfest, etc. is over, and other than ones that are running this weekend, the Wisconsin one was yesterday. I don't think that's any other days this weekend. I think it was just the Friday evening. And then we've got the VCF in Canberra, Australia, which is going on even now. And we had the one picture there with the Coco 3 actually up and running. So next one after that is VCF West, and this is at the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, California. And when you get your ticket there, you get to attend both the museum itself, which has a lot of really cool displays. And of course, this is right in Silicon Valley, so you're getting a lot of history of basically home computers in the US, period. And this runs, well, it ran yesterday, and it's also running from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. today. And this is West Coast time, so it's an hour behind. I believe it's only 1:55 there. So you still, if you're listening to this live and you live really nearby, you still have a little bit of time to run over. I know this is one that Mark Oberholz and a few others have actually attended before, so it's always been a good show. I believe Michael Furman and there was somebody else who was actually asking about who's all going on the Coco Discord. So at least a couple Coco people were going. Steve Batson?
Yeah, I had asked about going this year and last year on Facebook.
Yeah, so it looks like at least a couple Coco people down there. I don't remember if Michael was actually exhibiting anything, but he definitely was planning on attending. I hope we'll get some pictures in the report.
Be nice to do another Coco exhibit like we did in 2019. It was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Next after that is the Big Kahuna with VCF Midwest, which is the largest retro show in North America that I know of. And that is September the 13th to 14th at the Schaumburg Convention Center in Schaumburg, Illinois. and this is the 20th anniversary this year. There's always a huge Coco contingent out to this one because there's people like Rick that live not too far off in Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin. We've got most people from Glenside that live local to Chicago, so they're all there. And of course, Schaumburg is the original home of the very first Rainbow Fest ever, and the one I attended the most. Not too much more to say there. It's a big show. Probably, I think 3,000 to 4,000 people expected this year. There's usually like a large Coco section kind of cordoned off. There's also like Taylor and Amy and a bunch of others that I think they're actually planning on doing some musicianship with their band. And there's a lot of big YouTubers out there if you want to see that kind of stuff. A lot of free table stuff, a lot of stuff for sale, and no admission fee, which is kind of cool. That
No
same
printers.
week, there is also... What's that?
No printers
No
on
printers?
the 3D table. The free table
Oh,
will
yeah.
not accept printers.
Yeah, because they basically just become expensive paperweights.
Yeah, that's where people dumped all their printers so they didn't have to take them to recycle. So don't do that no more,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
It was on the badge. I was amazed. It was on the show badge last year.
Oh, I actually told you
Okay.
not to drop printers off.
Yeah, the free table at Southwest also said that.
Where's all the printer love when you need it? Anyway, that exact same weekend is Retro World Expo, which is September 12th to 14th at the Connecticut Convention Center in Hartford, Connecticut. Definitely a game-oriented one with a bunch of extras with things like wrestling and stuff, which I'm really curious to see if anybody from the Coco community gets to go to see if there's much Coco representation there. This covers home video consoles, home computers, actual arcade games, the electronic tabletop stuff. And like I said, it's also got the extra stuff coming as well, like wrestling, live music, etc. So it would definitely be an interesting show. It might be a little bit too far off the beaten path for me. I mean, I don't mind games, obviously, but I'm not a huge wrestling fan, so that part I would ignore. But, people like Brent and Aaron would be right in their element at this one, so maybe they'll go this year. And the third one on that exact same weekend is WARC, World of Retro Computing, which is actually up in Canada. This is September 13th to the 14th at the Old Goodies Department Store, located in Kitchener, Ontario, which is west of Toronto. And this is a general retro show for a bunch of gaming and home computer platforms. There are seminars, LAN parties, if you want to play some games head-to-head against people, workshops, store prizes and raffles. No admission fee whatsoever. Runs from 5 p.m. Eastern, or from noon to 5 p.m. Eastern on both Saturday and Sunday. We've actually had Frank come in and do some live presentations from these in the last couple of years. Stacy Vetzel was a person that used to work at Amiga or at Commodore on the Amiga, but also started with the Coco, so she had her Coco out there as well. Running OS9, which of course I love that part. But it's a pretty good show. They had, I think, about 500 people last year. Hopefully it'll be a bit bigger this year as well. After that is Tandy Assembly, which is September the 26th to the 28th in Springfield, Ohio. And this one is $10 a day. Friday is reserved for Tandy Tech Tracks. These are highly technical discussions and topics. So if you're more of a more casual retro guy, like you would play games or something like that, then I probably wouldn't bother with that one because that's more discussing, how the sausage is made for hardware and software. But if you want to learn, definitely go to it. They've had some really good ones. Children 12 and under are free. And then the last 2 days, of course, are basically the general event where you get to go around. There's some competitions, trivia competitions, stuff you get to witness, seminars, as well as, displays of all kinds of stuff that's coming out and some stuff for sale, etc. And the big note this year is if you attended Coco Fest this year earlier in May and you still have your pass, you get free admission. You don't have to pay the $10 a day. So a bit of incentive for those of you that actually attended Coco Fest if you want to make it up to Tandy Assembly. It won't cost you anything. If you're a vendor too late, as of May 13th, they were completely sold out of vendor tables. And for an event that's not happening in September, that's pretty good. I do think they're going to have to upgrade to a new facility soon because they're starting to sell out pretty regularly now. Next after that is the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, which runs October 17th to 19th. And this is, of course, in Portland, Oregon at the Oregon Convention Center. This one is obviously games related. This goes from consoles to home computers to arcade to tabletops. Tim and AJ have actually been exhibitors at this one a couple years back. I think they're planning attending this year as just attendees. It's a fairly decent size one. I think Mark O has been to this, or you at least people have gone to it, so you kind of know what the size and scope of this show is. If you're still here, I can't see at the moment. Oh no, he's not away from his. He's away from his mic. But if you're into gaming in general, this is definitely one that would be worthwhile. I seem to recall the tables were quite expensive at this one if you did want to be an exhibitor, but the attendee isn't too bad price-wise. After that is VCF Montreal, the first officially sanctioned VCF event for Canada. So, of course, they threw it in Montreal in January because, all you foreigners coming in just have to experience snow and ice like crazy. And we'll watch you drive to the venue and slide into the ditch and maybe help you out. But all right, this one, I'm not sure if there's going to be attendance fees for this one. They're still kind of working out some of the details because this is the very first one they've done. And it's good to see that we have an official VCF event that's happening in Australia right now this weekend. And now we've got an official one in Canada as well. So VCF is becoming much more international. There's already been a German one the last couple of years, which we've covered a little bit before. But hopefully we can get Frederick and a few others. Hopefully John Kowalski, Sockmaster, will be at this one. I got to actually contact him, make sure he's aware that it's happening. And Frank from Retro Reruns one of the sponsors, so they'll be down there if you want to pick up a Coco SDC and you're in the area. Well, that's a perfect time to do it. And I look forward to what we get reports from on that one. And the last one is Glenside Coco Fest 2025, or 2026, I should say. I still have not got official word on this. I keep waiting for it from Grant or from Jim Brain, but tentatively, April 24th to the 25th, that will be the dates for the next one here. So once totally confirmed, and maybe they got hotel rates and stuff fully confirmed too, we'll revisit. But I just want to mention it to keep your calendars open in the last weekend or last week of April of next year, because that's when Coco Fest is likely to be. I just saw there's a comment in the chat here from Paul Shoemaker, the author of it. He says, "Hi everyone, thank you for talking about Paku Paku in today's show. The full binary is 11K in size, so I guess it technically could be made to run on a 16K Coco." Yeah, I would think so, because basically the first K is basic stuff if you want to leave those alone. Then the tech screen's another 512 bytes. If you're running from disk, it will eat up the next block of memory for a bit. So I would say for sure it could run a cassette if it's relocated, and it probably could fit fine in 16K. If you load it the right part, you might have to do a clear to protect memory, upper memory from basic, but which would be pretty cool. It'd be one of the few times that the Coco version of the game takes less RAM than the MC10 version does. Because you'll need a 20K expansion for that.
But his next comment.
But I guess people have had 40 years to upgrade the RAM of the Coco, so hopefully run. Oh, no, that's you see all these ABA people buying 16K machines all the time. And that's the end of the upcoming shows. So I am completely caught up at this point. I do know, like, the news is actually getting a bit shorter right now because it's summer holidays. And everybody, of course, has different schedules of when they're taking their kids out, on a camping trip or flying overseas or whatever else. So we're going to see a lot of that over the next month and a half, I think, until school starts picking up again in, the end of August, beginning of September, depending on where you are. But it was kind of cool to have 2 game releases, this week. And, Nick's still working on pinball. And I think you're getting closer and closer to the end of that too, Nick, aren't you?
Yep. Buck Owens is now evaluating it.
Okay. And I'll get you a screenshot of the composite mode here right after the show today. Didn't get a chance to do it yet.
Yep.
Yeah, well, today was a good day to be inside because it's 37 Celsius.
That's just under 100.
That's a bunch of numbers.
About 98, 99 Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
it's about the
it's
temperature of a human body. Yeah.
With the humidity to go with it.
Yeah, here we got humidity because it's supposed to rain this afternoon, but it's only like 68 Fahrenheit.
Now, see, that I can live with.
Well, I just have to move up here then. And enjoy our winters at minus 40.
Ooh, there's a...
Then you can play croaker for real when you're trying to get your frog to jump over an ice road.
Hey, I grew up near the border, so it's not alien to me.
Like Alaska level cold?
No, it was New York.
Oh yeah, no, you guys get pelted with a ton of precipitation, snow more than we do. So
Oh, let's see. I guess that's
that's gonna be our shortest show in a while here. Just barely 3 hours.
it's like I ran out of stuff on my list here already.
Yeah, I think we can blame Brian Weasler because he said he couldn't stay to
Right.
come on and unload a truck full of stuff.
We needed that half hour, dang it.
That's all right. We had an hour-long interview with Ken.
Yeah,
That worked out pretty good. That was fun.
Yeah, except for a couple of drops, but that was okay. He came back. Nick, did you have anything you wanted to talk about on pinball or show on pinball?
No, nothing new.
Not today? Yeah. I know you're kind of in the midst of getting, deep, hardcore testing done, so.
Yeah.
That shouldn't
He'll
take
find
long
bugs.
because there's no bugs. So
Yeah, well, that's
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty well done yesterday at that point.
Just appearance. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
okay, so let's find my outro. Here we go.
This concludes another episode of the CoCoNation, the world's leading live interactive talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things the CoCoNation, visit us on the web at thecoconation.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to show@thecoconation.com. The CoCoNation show would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. The CoCoNation theme song, copyright 2022 D. Bruce Moore, mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. The CoCoNation is over. Join us on the Coco Discord server. Coco forever.
Make Ken Sloopy go away.
I feel so loved.
Oh, there he is. Okay, but yeah, we just ran the outro, so we are done.
Sloopy gets his appearance credit.
So more people said goodbye than said hello. Is that a problem?
I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but Jim Ryan in the chat says, wow, I rarely make it to the end. Bye all. I'm feeling kind of insulted by that, maybe, or maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
The news wasn't quite as snoozy today.
Yeah. Yeah, cut his
It
nap
is
down.
summer.
Yeah, I expect this will be the basically we'll have shorter shows there through the summer.
Yeah, well, we
It's
gotta
fine.
we gotta rush to Walmart for the back to school shopping.
All right.
So September's when I go pick up all the pencil cases and stuff for use as storage containers because they're usually down to $1 a piece.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like this for putting thumb drives or SD cards in.
Oh, exactly. I store up on my purple glue sticks
So
for 3D printing.
so after school starts, they're on discount.
'Cause those are like 3 for $1. So
So
Chris Durris's
Alrighty.
new comment is, I made it to the end, but I had a nap in the middle.
Yeah, me too.
good choice.
so
I had a nap during the
Alrighty.
game on.
I had a nap I had a nap at the beginning and made it at the end.
all right, I guess it's time to push the button. So till next week. Bye,
Bye, everybody.
And don't forget
Bye.
Game On Challenge live on Thursdays.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, should do that.
Yeah, you should, Rick.
Who in the world?
What's
That's
that?
Bob Emery.
Bob
Bob
Emery.
Emery's been lost to the net.
Lost to the ether. All right, well that's definitely a time to go.